Yes, we are. Hello. Wait, am I live? Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I have no idea if this is actually going to be working today, but I hope it will because it seems like our internet is good, and our internet was good last time. So I'm hopeful. But welcome to the stream, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As you guys can see, this time around, I actually have a Discord overlay. So we have the names of the amazing artists and people who are going to be joining us today, which includes me mostly. Actually, it's just me and then three other people. No, I'm here with Christoph, who is one of our look dev artists. He is a shader wizard and an effects wizard, and you may have seen his stuff on Twitter and YouTube. He does a lot of amazing tutorials on YouTube and shares a lot of cool stuff. So, Christoph, say hello.
Hello.
Oh, look at that. We did it. We're also joined with Leonardo Braz. He is a modeler, an amazing modeler. He's actually from Axis and has done a lot of stuff for like the cinematics for like Legends of Runeterra, a lot of Riot cinematics, and a couple others like from Magic the Gathering. Really, really cool stuff. And maybe a couple other projects I can't mention, but those are really, really cool things that have his models in them, and also CyberKatsu too. So he did a great job with this. I'm really happy with everything that he's been contributing to the team. And Leo, if you want to say hi.
Hey guys.
There you go.
Hello, I'm Leo.
Yeah, and of course we are also joined by Ruki Curry, who you guys probably all know already. She is an amazing character modeler and artist, and also look dev artist for the team. She is a generalist of many talents. She actually did so many things in this, and we'll talk about the modge podge of things that she did and helped me out with as well. Not just look dev, but there's a lot of talent behind that red-haired person there that you see. So you want to say hi?
Hi.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Today we're just gonna be going over all the things that we are gonna be seeing on screen today. So we're gonna be watching the video, but not watching the whole thing through the first time. We've done that already twice in the other previous two audio commentaries. So I figured, you guys have seen the video already, and you guys can already watch the video, in full FPS and 1080 4K or whatever. So I feel like we're just gonna go through the video as it is and probably figure out just a section of the video that we'll watch and then sort of go over it, or maybe we'll just pause it immediately when we notice something. And I think that might be a good way to start because there's a lot to talk about. So yeah. By the way, does everything sound good? How's the volume? I mean, are we doing okay with that? I know Discord is going through my desktop sound, so just let me know if you guys are hearing them okay. You guys want to make some random sounds to do an audio check?
Like us?
Yes.
Hello.
Check.
Beautiful.
1,
Perfect.
2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Yes. Okay, that's good. It looks like it's good. Okay, awesome. So yeah, let's get started. I'm excited. Just to check in with you guys in the call, I just want to play some. I'm gonna play some audio and I'll see if you guys can hear it. I'm gonna guess that you might not be able to, so I might switch over to the other thing. Oh, just kidding. I turned it off. Okay, here we go. This should work. All right.
Okay.
Do you hear the volume? Are we good?
Yeah.
Yeah, yep.
Okay. All right, here we go.
Here we go.
Okay. This is more cramped than I thought.
Okay, there's actually...
Wait,
So before we talk about anything else, I actually want to talk about this building, personally. Because this is one of the last shots we did. And probably, I think, Ruki, you have a funny story about this. Because we were trying to figure out what the building would look like and didn't finalize it till the very, very end. And I was like, Ruki, I need a building that looks evil.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, and then I drew and badly modeled a really, really terrible looking prototype. And then we gave it to Leo. and then he modeled it, and it looked really good, and it made me feel like I actually knew what I was doing. So thank you very much, Leo. You made me feel like a real concept artist, and I basically drew like a scribble.
I
Yeah,
wouldn't have done it without you.
it worked out really well. I think I'm trying to find the screenshot of that because it's somewhere around here. But yeah, it's actually hilarious because it worked out. I mean, I was surprised. Here, let me show you guys what this looks like. This is
You
actually.
told me it was good. You lied to me.
No, I didn't say that. I mean, I did say that. Wait, no, wait. Hang on. No, it was good. It was very good. I mean, obviously, I saw the potential, so I don't see what the problem is. So you can see, Rookie sent me this just like a comparison. It's like this is the original sort of like model and like concept art she drew. She's like, hey, this is gonna look kind of evil, right? And I was like, that's great. That's gonna work so well. And it did, because I was right. I'm just saying, whatever. And then
I saw the picture there.
yeah, yeah. Leo
Understood it.
Leo just took that and was like, I know exactly what you want. Hang on a second.
Yeah, I don't know how he did that. He used some sort of magic.
Yeah, it turned out really, really good actually. So, and then on top of that, and then Rookie went through and did all the shader stuff, and we got something like this, which was really, really pretty. And the coolest thing about this is like, there's actually no reflections in this window at all. It's just with not an HDRI. What was it, like a vector or something, right?
No, it's just an image. I added bokeh to.
Oh, I see. So it's not even dynamic. It's just plastered on there, isn't it?
Yes, that's correct.
Is it happening
Using the
building
reflection
behind it?
vector.
Ah, the reflection vector.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, so that's cool. But yeah, that's the building. So good job, team.
It's a very pretty building.
Okay,
It
this
is.
more clear.
Good job.
Yeah, that was
Good job,
great.
everyone.
Yeah.
Cramped than I thought.
Wait, you mean you've never snuck into a building through an air duct before? Isn't that like Thief 101?
Hey, it's not like I'm.
The vents here.
Things.
I mean, I could really just pause in any frame of this and be like, "Wow, this looks so pretty." The vents here were a joint effort between Rookie and Christoph, and I thought they were just like, they turned out really well. We executed them after, I believe, Rookie did a paint over of sort of like the original sort of air ducts that Leo had made, and then we had this. Is this the paint over? I believe it is. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I couldn't find the original.
Yeah, I couldn't find the original either.
The original, I think, was just darker and bluer or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, so the original was, I think Leo just had like, basically a gray metal, which was, I mean, it worked great, it looked great, but it also looked very realistic. So we wanted to stylize it. And so Rookie was able to get these sort of colors decided on for the style of the thing. And then Christoph added these really great stylized shaders, which we'll talk about as well. But I mean, when you get something like this, and it basically, I mean, Christoph executed this and was like, this basically just looks like the paintovers to me. So I thought it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this one. It
Yeah.
matches with the color of the outfit of the character.
Yes.
And I think it helps
Yeah.
blending it very well.
Yes, I completely agree. I think Rookie chose some great colors for this, and everything feels very cohesive.
Things all the time. Besides,
This was your plan.
The mug. Sorry. Anyway. So the story for the mug, by the way, is that Leo just added it in for fun, and then we kept it. So, yeah.
I was just
And-
throwing out ideas.
Yeah.
Nothing. I was going to say that because I was drinking coffee and I was like, someone is going to sit here and is going to have to drink some coffee. And I just added that.
Amazing. That's funny because actually a lot of that was improvised because ramen actually, I feel like we did have like a drink sort of planned in some way, but the original drink actually in my mind in the storyboards was supposed to be some sort of like, I don't know, soda can or something. And so ramen was doing the notes, and I really liked what he did because he was just like, I want to use the mug, and I was like, yes, use the mug. That's actually perfect. So yeah, that worked out really well. Ramen says it was great. I animated it with my coffee. Yeah, that's the most productive way to do it. Yeah.
You agreed pretty fast, so I assumed you were familiar.
this hallway is also super pretty. I don't want to pause too much, but like because we're seeing these environments for the first time, I want to talk about them. Like this hallway, oh god. Christoph, I don't know if you want to talk about it a little bit, but I loved how we executed this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of a new idea I had with like splashing gradients all over the place, and also I wanted to do a lot of highlights everywhere, and still make it interact with the lighting, which is really important. So we tried a bunch of new shaders, mostly shader to RGB, and then splashed all kinds of gradients on it. A wave texture that actually just makes everything look like one big gradient, and then just blend it in. And I was surprised how good it looked, because it's not even mapped properly. We're using the normals just to map all the gradients on top of it, and it worked out fine.
Yeah, it's almost random. I mean, I'm looking at the gradient sort of like render here that we have, and like it works. I mean, I know like it's interesting. So like the reason why it's like this, like obviously if we could control it a little bit more, I think we would have, but it's like this because we used instances in this particular instance.
The wave texture has a phase offset, so you can play around with the with the location very easily. You just offset the phase a tiny bit, like if you don't like it, and that works well. But I was studying reference that was painterly, and I saw all these gradients, and I was trying to see like especially for metal, like is it like how do they place it? And I often thought like it looks sort of random sometimes, like they just splash a gradient here, splash it there. It's like, would that work? It's like
yes.
So
yes, it does work. I agree.
I think the most important part is like every surface needs to have a different gradient in a different place. So and that's where the normals come in. Like every surface that is a bit different gets a different gradient, and that makes it stand out from each other.
Yeah, it's interesting because like it's really subtle, but at the same time, it's like without it, it wouldn't look nearly as good, I think. Yeah, which is great.
And it's still blended in with like normal shading. There's like reflection going on, and specular.
Yeah.
And, with a very soft roughness.
Yes, it's true. Yeah, the lights really work well with this, very much so. Yeah. And this is also, in collaboration with Ruki, who was able to do some paint overs with the colors that also just look really, really nice. I think like the colors in CyberKatsu 2 are something that I think have been really like stand out for me as like a big, like I guess milestone for the animations we've made in the past. I feel like they just look so nice. I mean, the colors work really well together, not just with the characters, but also with like the environments that they're in. So like one thing that I know Ruki was talking to me about when she was doing these paint overs was like giving each place sort of its own, I guess, personality, right? And like we talked a little bit about that, and making sure that they felt like different places. And so like the lab was meant to feel cold and something like a bit more menacing, right? Something, because it is technically the enemy territory, right? Yeah. I think the tunnel was another big one, which we'll talk about. But anyway, yeah. let's continue. Did you want to say anything about that, Ruki? Because I know the colors were a big thing for you.
Not especially.
Yes, just look at them. They're pretty. Yes, I agree. The colors will do the talking. That's very, very good.
Pretty fast, so I assumed you were familiar.
Well, I didn't think I had a choice.
Look, I couldn't not arrest you. Just because it was you who stole it doesn't mean we can let a criminal run off with a top secret weapon.
A criminal? Really?
Can I ask a question? About this part?
Yeah.
Whose idea was it to add the little like mouse teeth to the mask?
Actually, was that Leo? I think it was Leo, right?
because I
Yeah,
saw that for the
I
first time in
I
the actual
think it
video.
was I think it was
I
in
thought it was
the
so funny.
Yeah.
you talk about the teeth in the mask.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
let me double check because it actually might be in Jeff's original concept art. Let me see.
Yeah, I do think it was in the concept. I think I added.
Yeah, so they did. He did have teeth in the
Okay.
concept. He did. He did. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah. By the way, this is concept art from Jeff Chen, one of our concept artists, and he. I basically just gave him like a prompt of like, can you make a scientist with an animal mask of any kind? And he came up with the rat, and it worked really well. Yeah, I was like, that's perfect. And then he added the teeth. One thing just as like a fun thing is like we technically we're gonna have two rat types. We're gonna have a rat boss as well, and he was gonna have these goggles, and we did have those goggles modeled. I think Leo, you actually worked on them.
I did the entire character.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
exactly.
there.
Yeah, the only issue with that was like the goggles were giving us a real big problem with like the stylization of the character and the angles that we were looking at him in, and it ended up becoming a little jarring to see him and then nowhere else. So we ended up what we did was we replaced the mask, but we kept the beard and we kept the outfit. So he's still there. He just doesn't
Oh,
have
you did?
googly eyes.
I
Yeah,
haven't seen it.
yeah, he,
Uh-huh.
yeah. He's the first rat that you see. So you actually see him in well the one who talks actually, and then never again. But yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. I didn't notice that it was there. I was like, oh, where is the rat?
Yeah, he's there.
It's
He was,
there.
but it's true. He was originally gonna have the mask, but he doesn't anymore. So
Okay, okay.
not this guy, but we'll see him in the next. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Criminal run off with a top secret weapon.
A criminal. Really. And now it's in the hands of a billionaire psychopath. So much better.
Yeah, who was alerted to the existence of said weapon because someone used it on a vending machine.
How else was I supposed to know if it worked or not?
Look, if we can get it back, the higher-ups are letting you use it once, so you should be grateful.
Yeah, only because they know I'll steal it back from them. Otherwise...
Well, they can't deny that you are good at it. The exit is just to your right. Make sure to use the cloaker I gave you. It doesn't last long, but should be enough to get you in and out.
I've seen those
Just remember.
missing panels that you mentioned last stream.
Ah, do you? Oh yeah. No, you're not supposed to bring it up again, Leo. Sure, just kidding. Yeah. There's some. If you guys were tuned in last stream, you guys might have noticed that there is some missing panels here. This is actually sort of like an execution on, like, I guess like explaining how like the filing process tends to work sometimes. But like I basically was just trying to get these shots in, and I cut out the panels to get the camera work. So you guys can see that there's this shot where, you know, obviously this panel is cut out so we can see her do the thing. And then I was supposed to bring that panel back for this shot, but you can actually see through it. And there's just like the world behind there, and it's like, oh, it's just like black and empty. But it's fine. Nobody really cares after
You know, one of the one of the things that I was I should have done when we were doing, I didn't do it because I thought this was going to be done later because I didn't know where the camera shots were at the beginning.
Yeah.
But because you can see that, I don't know if I should mention these things, but you can see that the background is the actual world. There is anything like covering the edge of stuff. So I would be glad at that time if I knew I would expand it and just create a gradient to just help it fall off.
I did have, so my original intention was to add a trim here. So we could just have like a nice little cutoff here and just make that a little bit more deliberate looking. And I think I was gonna do that, and then I just didn't have time. So and it was good. It was good enough. I do think that in the future we'll want to keep that in mind. But yeah.
When I published it in the portfolio, what I've done was just with some gradients, I just kind of removed the little thing.
Yeah, that's a good call. That's a good call. I agree. It looks a lot better that way. Really highlights your work a lot more. But yeah, yes.
Make sure to use the
in general, like the look dev for the vents, because I know because there was a lot of parts of the vents that like Christoph was able to execute them really well and be like, this is what it's gonna look like. The shaders are done, but I had to go through and sort of make sure that it was ready for each shot. So there was a lot of light placement here that was very much like inspired by Ruki's paintovers, and so I would follow that as a guide to make sure each shot still felt like the same personality, and I think that worked really well. And I did something kind of similar to the like the city shots as well, which was a big part of the execution. But we'll get into that later, so let's keep watching.
As long, but should be enough to get you in and out. Just remember, try not to attract any unwanted attention. And don't kill anyone.
Ugh, always so many rules.
Yeah, and
If you break that last one, we'll have to lock you up again.
ugh.
Whatever. I got this.
I just look at that. Look at those barrels. I love these barrels. Like as I was working, I was always like, those barrels just feel so nice. I mean, it's a combination of Leo's like modeling and then Christoph's amazing shaders. It just brings this nice amount of detail, just like as like a place you can set your eyes on. It's like, oh, that looks very pretty.
This reminds me of that. How do the Portal games?
Oh yeah. Oh, are you talking about the turrets? The turrets in Portal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, they're so fun.
Oh
I
yeah.
love the Portal games.
I can see the resemblance. Yeah, I can see the resemblance. Yeah.
I wanted to add this little eye in it, and it was cool that you guys put it red, like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great. Oh, here's the boss. So you can actually see, just real quick, he has the gloves and the jacket.
Ah, yeah. Where's the mustache? Not the mustache.
He's there. It's there.
It's there.
He's got it. He's got it all. But we had to replace the mask, so that was the only.
That's a stylish scientist, man.
He's that's true. He's got the little beard, little goatee.
We've got a security breach. Lab 6.
Sorry, the voice acting gets me every time. But the door here is also really pretty. I just want to point that out. Anyway, let's move on.
Very pretty door.
This is actually the splash screen of our custom Goo Blender build right now. So just want to point that out as well. Anyway, let's move on.
This is much higher security than you reported.
Yeah, they were watching that vent. Do you see a safe way out?
I think I
I
found
want one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Abby! Really?
I have an idea.
Yeah, the guards will be here any minute.
Let's do some window shopping. Ooh, now this is something I've always wanted.
What? What are you doing?
Oh, just trying not to die.
You can't just steal a bike.
All right then, Tabs. The bike is yours.
What? Abby?
Oh! This shot was a big shot. So, oh man, where would we even begin with this? So this shot was actually a shot that we had planned for at the very beginning to like be sort of like a shock and awe shot, trying to bring some attention really to what we want to do with the background. And we didn't really get it done till the very end because we had so much other things to do, but also a lot of sort of research on how to make this look good. And I think we did a pretty good job with it. Ruki was spending a lot of time getting this to look great. She also developed some new techniques, like the goo fraction planes, for example.
Yeah, you can actually see them. I couldn't see because I watched this on my phone on the train. I thought they were blurred out, but you can see them to a degree.
Yeah. You can see like the distortion here, I think, and like a couple other places.
Yeah.
But yeah, the DOF also makes it a little harder to see. But I do think it looks really, really pretty. It emphasizes a lot of the lights too, because without it, it wouldn't be so bright either.
Yeah, and it blends it all together as well a bit.
Yes, I agree.
Like the lights warp into each other.
Yeah, that's true. They really do. So yeah, this was a big shot, and I mean the city itself was just a huge undertaking, trying to get it to feel like alive and all these things. But there's gonna be some really cool stuff we'll show later. Yeah. Anyway.
with me, really.
This explosion, Christoph did this explosion.
Oh yeah.
It looks so good.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about how you did this, but look at that.
Yeah, I think the note said do comedic timing, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, make it funny. Yeah.
Make it funny. So I was trying to see like how long can I stretch this out before it explodes, just to make it like people wait, and then boom.
Yeah. Yeah, that worked out really, really well. And like just in general, I feel like this initial impact. Like, I like that you added those little sparks there at the bottom.
Yeah, it's supposed to be underwhelming. So
yeah.
I like how it's so minor. Just like it's just pings on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. And then like this giant explosion. Like I love just the first 2 frames of it.
Yeah.
It's just, and now the entire screen is covered.
Yeah.
That's great. That's so good.
Do cars blow up that easily? Asking for a friend.
Are you formally asking us if cars can be used as bombs?
I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes they explode, and that's just life, right?
That is what movies have taught us.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a combustion engine, right? I mean, it's in the name. Come on. All right, anyway. Yes, I'm just saying it is technically in the name. All right. Oh yeah, I mean, we talked about the flinch yesterday as well. Like the animation that Ramen did for this biker is amazing, and actually, we didn't talk about it too much, Ramen, at the time, but I forgot to mention this particular animation that you did. You recorded some reference of yourself basically falling out of your chair almost. Like you're pretending to like be on the bike in your gaming chair, and you just like on your knees backwards and clearly imbalanced, and it turned out really well somehow. But yeah, the Ramen actually is wondering how long this shot took to render. Unless I think you're asking about the top view shot actually, which wasn't too bad. In general, the renders were actually very, very short after we figured out some random issues with the line art, but that's a whole different thing. But the average render time, which I'm sure you guys are probably curious about, was between 1 to 2 minutes, which really isn't bad at all. The longest render times that we had were like 5 minutes, and those were like, something's probably wrong with the file, but I'm too lazy to figure it out. Now, the worst render times we had before we fixed the problems, I think we had one that was 2 hours. And
that's per frame, yeah.
Per frame, yeah. There was one frame that took 2 hours to render.
Which shot was it?
I can show you guys. It's this. It was one of the shots with just Abby, and it wasn't really that demanding. It was this shot here. So this shot, for whatever, it was probably like this particular frame actually, if I were to guess. It took 2 hours to render, and that's not by design by any means. There's nothing about this shot that should take 2 hours. It was because of a bug that has to do with the line art modifier for the grease pencil, and probably some weird interactions with geometry. I don't know exactly what it was, but I suspect it had something to do with like something being scaled to 0 or something like that. But yeah, 2 hours. Yeah. The thing about that too was we have a software. Actually, I have a screenshot of this. We have a software of let me see if I can find it. Oh, here we go. We'll show those other things later. We have a software called Render Check that handles a lot of our rendering for us, and Late built it for us. It was based off like an old software that I had made that was terrible. It was built off like Tkinter, which is like, I think only works on like Windows 98 or something. But the
how old are you, Dylan?
200. No, shush. But basically this thing is supposed to track the render times for us. So it tells us the render times. That's how we know, right? So you can actually see like time per frame. You can see that like it's around 40 seconds, right? Oh, this is around 40 seconds. This is around 1 minute. This is for Demon Slayer Cats too, by the way. Just don't look at the file names. But the time per frame was there as an average for us to measure, and like each one was there. There was a point where this thing just broke because Late never coded it to account for any render times past 1 hour because he said that's basically impossible. There's no way render times would ever take more than an hour. So that frame that took 2 hours to render actually broke the software because it had deemed it impossible. So yeah, that's just a little fun fact for you guys because yeah, it was really 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 bad. But we fixed it, and again, like the longest renders were like 5 minutes. So yeah. It's so old I can feel the computer doing that, asking about Y2K. Yeah, actually, that seems like a very accurate description. What was it about the frame that made it take an hour long? It was the line art modifier. I don't know what else about it. It's like the line art modifier was interacting strangely with an object in the scene. Once we fixed it, we removed that object, and it was like a 1 minute render, and it was fine. So yeah, I don't know.
I remember that this was being brought up when I was optimizing the tunnel as well, because for some reason things were super slow.
Yeah, and the tunnel thing, I mean, optimizing certainly helped actually. It did bring the render times down, but it was specifically the line art that was interacting with the geometry, trying to calculate line art with a lot of different polygons at once, which basically meant the line art was including the background. That made it really, really hard to calculate that per frame for the modifier, and it would just take 5 to 10 minutes to 20 minutes or whatever, depending on the shot, just to draw the line art. And that's what it would do before it would finish rendering. So yeah, it had nothing to do with the actual GPU times. It was just the CPU figuring out that process.
I think did you guys already mention, because I remember that Rookie was working on this parallax thing for the Windows.
Yes. Great
Maybe
call,
it's
Leo.
good to bring it up. I don't know if this is like a mystery to keep or something, but
no mystery
I
at all.
thought it was really cool.
We're actually using an add-on called Super Parallax, which I think is pretty great.
Oh no, here I use KitOps.
Oh, it is
KitOps
KitOps.
Parallax.
Okay. Oh, KitOps Parallax. Okay, great.
Yeah, but we had to modify it a bit.
Yes, we did. We had to tweak it to our liking, but it did actually work in the end, and that was great. Yeah, I mean,
very cool.
So basically, if I can show like these windows here, like they're not actually there. If that makes sense. Like that's what parallax does. So it allows us to create basically just a plane that has the depth that gives the illusion of like a room or something inside of it. And that's something that I think blew my mind, and we were able to use that very efficiently in a lot of different scenes here. This is a good example of it. Yeah, so this is, you can see here, the parallax windows. So the bottom window here is actually geometry because we needed the bike to come through it. But all the windows above it, all those windows, that's not actually there. That's just planes. And the crazy thing is, like in 3D, you can actually go in that blend file and change the angle, and it will look like a 3D room. And it's based on a lot of like special maths and stuff, but it can be generated pretty. I don't know, Rookie, do you want to talk about the process or anything like that?
So, well, I used KitOps 2 Parallax, I believe it is called. It's on the Blender Marketplace. And what it does is sort of simulates a cube inside of the plane, and using that you can place items, furniture, because it's meant for architectural visualization to fill like apartment windows, stuff like that. So you can place things on flat planes within your fake little world and set them to different depths and all that fun stuff, and it's really, really cool.
Yeah, and then you basically render it out and it goes onto a shader, right?
Yeah, and as a bonus, you get it as an EXR file, so it bakes in the lighting as well, so you get a light source.
Yes.
It's so cool.
Very high fidelity images. So yeah, it works so well. And I want to show some hopefully just like a few things in the files, but I might not be able to get to it today. But the city strip, like the treadmill, also had a lot of those, and they really added to the life of the scene, which I liked a lot.
Facades, yes.
Yeah, the facades. the facades in the buildings that were passing by, they had a lot of really cool just simple parallax planes, but they just added so much depth without adding any geometry at all, which is great. Yeah. How did you make the background on the moving cars on the road? Right, good question. We'll get to that in a bit. So let's see.
Abby, I could have killed you.
But you didn't.
I hate you so much.
I'm sure they have accident coverage.
Oh, this shot. So this shot, I give credit to Christoph. So this shot is so you guys may have seen the image that I know Christoph posted on his Twitter. I also posted on for example my YouTube community tab. If you guys are here from there, and that image is a combination between Ruki and Christoph, where Ruki did a paint over as well that looked very similar. Christoph was able to execute on it in the scene, and it looked beautiful. There's a lot of great I mean, all those renders were so good. A lot of those when we were working on it, I remember Leo and I think someone else in the meeting like the other day was mentioning that like these renders were so pretty. Oh, it was Cody, right? These renders were so pretty that like when people were opening them up, they were like, oh, that's a nice reference, that's a good thing that we can try to strive for. And then they would just open up, turn on the viewport shading, and it looks exactly the same. And it was so beautiful. And I think huge credit to the artist. Yeah
this is great.
Yeah,
someone on Twitter wants to know, Christoph, what filters you used or something.
Yeah. We just use the one button animate filter.
Yeah.
yeah. The craziest thing is that this is real time. Like you can actually go into the scenes and see what the scene looks like, and it looks basically like this. We had very little post processing on that shot, right?
That's my favorite thing, just doing stuff work.
Yeah.
yeah.
I have to say, I had a project. I forgot how it was called, but it was on YouTube as well. But there was a project that Axis was developing as well that had a city really equal to this. I mean, even the style, the gradients.
Oh yeah, that was like KDA, wasn't it?
Yeah, that Kaz was working on as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that this is looking better than the other cities.
Oh really? Oh wow! Oh my! Oh Leo!
I'm not saying it just to kind of like just because it was us doing it, but I really do think so.
I mean,
kind of gradients.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I mean, honestly, I think it is really beautiful. Yeah. I mean, it is really good, and we are flattered, Leo, because KDA was quite pretty as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Sorry. I was how real time exactly? I'm pretty sure once the shaders are compiled, it's fine. It just runs. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, so that has
like
that has a lot to do with the way we lit it as well, which is like this whole other process we'll talk about. But
yes.
Yeah, the shader compilation takes a little bit of time, and then once it's there, you can just move around in the scene. I will say, like, when it comes to like playback, I wouldn't argue that it's 100% real time, of course, because that has other issues, right? Because you have geometry, you have moving characters, animation, and stuff to worry about. But navigating in the viewport, it's good. Yeah, it wasn't really slow at all. The big problems came originally, so we'll talk about that for a second because we might as well. This is the scene. So we ran into a couple big road bumps at the beginning, which was with the lighting, because the city is rather large, and we had actually put real lights in the scene at the time originally, because that made sense, right? I mean, you need lighting, you put lights. So we did that, and turns out Eevee has a light limit. You can't have more than 128 lights in the scene before it randomly selects which ones to turn off. I didn't know that. I don't think any of us knew that. And that was confusing us for a while. And the scene was very heavy because of that as well. Because we had like, I think at some point we had like 200 to 500 lights, and I had like turned off like 300 of them at some point, like near the wrapping stage. I was like, I'm going to turn off like all these ones. And like, I asked late, like, why is this still not working? And he was like, well, you still have like 150 lights in your scene. I'm like, where? And there's like a collection I missed. And I was like, really? How many lights did we have? Yeah, so it was actually kind of insane.
I remember that BGE, the Blender game engine from the previous
Yeah.
versions, they had the same issue.
Ah.
They had a limit of how many
Yeah.
lights you have in a scene. So if Eevee is way different than that at this point. But if it kind of behaves in the same way, like rasterization processes and stuff, it's probably something common. I don't know how Unreal handles this.
It's a good question, actually. Yeah, I'm not sure either. I'm sure Late would know, but yeah, I mean, I think it worked out. What's up?
The lights. One of the problems was they were in the instances, right? So they were being copied a ton of times. Hey, that was it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
So that's
added
why
some.
there was so many.
Yeah,
That's why it was compounding. Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually part of the like when I ultimately
Well, like we didn't manually place like 500 lights.
Well,
right.
No, of course
I
not.
might have.
Yeah. Someone mentioned the Akira version. Robin mentioned the Akira version of the bike. I can pull that up now. I think we have the oh yeah, look at that. That looks so good. The the red one is beautiful. I really like that one. I wish we could use that one. Yeah.
Yeah, Akira obviously was a big influence. Like sometimes like pulling up references like how to do bikes. And of course it looks well a bit like 90s anime, so you have to update it and make it look different, but it's still a big influence and I loved it. And I wanted to make this version.
Yeah. Oh, there was that Christoph, do you have that one just like fake poster that you made? Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, wait,
Oh yeah, that was good.
I can get it.
I want it. I want to show them.
Give me a minute.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, oh, so good. Everything's so good. Let's answer some questions real quick. How'd you guys add the effect? Did you guys animate on Blender? Did you guys animate the effect separately and edit it in? Oh, good question. So you're talking about probably some of the like the gunfire here, for example, right? Like in the same shot. So we do have some bullet fire here that you can see. These bullet trails are done in Blender. They're not hand animated. They're actually done procedurally. This was using basically a noise texture that was stretched and then, controlled the alpha and the emission of a certain plane or something. Cody's the one who did the effects for this particular shot. I did do actually the placeholder effects originally, and he just made them look a little prettier. But it's the same idea. Yeah, so it's not actually hand drawn. Yeah, and same goes for the explosion in the other shot, which was actually all 3D, and Christoph did that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Did you find that poster? I want to see it.
I'm searching.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, let's see. I do have a question. Apologies if it's been asked, but how do you animate such tight areas? Stuff like the air vents and in the tunnel. Yeah, so Ramen actually responded a little bit here. We basically had very simple backgrounds, and we had like a cube basically for the vent, for example, and we just sort of made sure that they fit within that space as we were animating, so that helped a lot. But the other main things that I know the animators were trying to do during those vent scenes were really making sure those elbow pins were happening, because the elbows would clip through the walls if you didn't, be careful. And we have a great tool for that, which allows us to basically bake out some bones in the world space, which was really nice. And that helped a lot, because without that, the elbows would probably move all over the place, especially when she's sort of shifting around. And when you have a crawling shot like that, that's really important that those elbows maintain contact. And I think that helped, because that's really the main thing, is making sure that unintended movement isn't happening as much in those really tight spaces. Yeah, but Ramen, you're free to expound on that if you want to. Yeah, Dr. Bro is asking about playback. Do you guys have like a layered process where you hide the background and use like a proxy background to keep from slowing frame rate, or do you guys just use exactly what you see already there? Yeah, so Ramen also answered this. It's basically simple cubes. I actually have an answer to that here, but I'm going to show you guys this when we get to the tunnel as well. So this is actually a file that is just Shane's original previs model, which is literally just a cylinder for the tunnel, and like a plane for the ground. And he added some extra cars in here, so you can see that this is basically what we animated with for several months, and we were figuring out the tunnel shots and getting those previs and camera shots done. Even in Blender, we were using these models, so it worked out really well because obviously that matches up pretty well with what we see in the tunnel shots later, which we see here. But these tunnel shots are, absolutely beautiful, which we'll talk about in a bit. Christoph found it. Okay, excellent. Here we go. So, hang on, I'm gonna show you guys the. I'll show you guys this. Check this out. So this was the this is the car shader that looks so good too. We'll talk about that. Yeah, so this is Christoph's poster. You want to talk about it, Christoph? Like what you were thinking when you made it? Oh, Christoph's muted. It's okay. I'm sure he's busy.
Sorry, I was muted.
Oh no, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, we were working on a car and trying out the same thing we were doing with the environment, just splashing on gradients, and
Yeah.
so good, especially on the car that had a lot of flat surfaces.
Yes.
So all of the gradients get different shapes, and yeah, I tried this Akira poster. I loved it.
Yeah, I love the goo logo on the jacket too. That's great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He has cat ears.
He does, and a tail, and CyberKatsu. I love this so much. What you didn't draw the brush strokes? That was a font, right, for the CYK?
That's a font. That's 99% sure it's a font. Yes, that's it.
Fair enough. Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, so that was pretty awesome. I remember you surprised us with that too. We were just sort of like, I think we were working on effects for Demon Slayer, and you're like, "Hey, I made this." I was like, "Whoa!" It's like, "Whoa, that looks so good." Yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, just in case you guys can't tell, this is 3D. Now the character's not, but the car is 100% 3D, right? I mean, you did a little bit of post processing, I think, but that's about it. Right?
There's a little bit of post processing, but it looks mostly like this. I think we have a screen of the concept with the with two cars.
Yes,
it's a blue one.
Yes, I got that.
And
one.
that just shows what it looks like in Blender. It's not that dissimilar.
Yeah. These two images are from the viewport, basically. And
yes.
This image on the right, the blue car, is the same car that you saw in the other image, but red. Using the same shader, and man, it looks so good.
Yeah, it's just using the same thing, slapping gradients all over the place. And it actually the gradient effect, it doesn't work well when you have very round cars. So I was very fortunate that there are a lot of angles here that makes sure the gradients get like the normals shift the gradient.
Yes.
So that it looks very good.
Good job, Leo.
Yeah. The models look great.
Yeah.
On them.
Yeah. Leo, you are muted, by the way. I don't know if that's something that you are aware of, but yes. Yeah, I mean that just looks so good. So let's keep watching. Shall we? Yeah, so this environment was, we talked about this before in the animator stream, but it's actually a you can see a facade here. Look at that. This is an example. Yeah. This is an example of Ruki's parallax shader that we mentioned earlier. This is like, it looks like an entire like room, and it looks so good, and it's just a plane. It's just a plane, and it just passes by, and it adds so much life to it. Look, here's another one. Look at that. You can see the parallax as it moves by, which adds a lot of depth to this environment with relatively little cost. You have this just moving by, and you can see the movement. So I mean, I'll point this out more, but you can see the literal parallax happening here. Where this thing seems further away, and that's great. It's so good. Yeah, and it's just a plane. Kai was asking, when you say slapping gradients, is it hand painted or procedural? And the answer, I believe, is fully procedural.
Yes.
Yep.
I was just typing it, but I might just as well just
Yeah. I mean, it's
apply.
good
So it's fully procedural. I don't think we ever used UVs. There are different types of ways to execute it. You can just use an object into a mapping, and then you plug in the normals into the rotation, and then into a wave texture. And then when you do that, like once you plug it into the rotation, you can see the gradients rotate all over the place. And usually you stretch out the wave textures so the gradients become very soft or long stretched gradients, and you play around with it. And then also you can add a vector rotate, of course, and then you can manually tweak the rotation of those gradients. Like I said before, the phase offset allows you to move the gradients. So even though it's there's an element of randomness and it's procedural, you can still control it quite a bit. And the good thing is it's just very plug and play. You can just drop it on top of some models and it will just splash some gradients, and then you can see, okay, does this look good? Does it need tweaking? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it uses the normals makes it feel so like, automatic almost. Like it just feels very procedural that way, which is cool. It's very cool.
Sometimes I also use just a regular gradient going from top to bottom.
Oh yeah.
On the blue car, there's one. So the top will be lighter than the bottom. That's done also with a gradient, so I control that a bit. And we like I said before, we use it after a shader to RGB node. So Blender does the shading first, and then you add all of the fake lighting after it. And the beauty of that is you have a bit more control, or it's a bit more like how you would do the process when you paint over stuff. This also allows you to overexpose or like highlight stuff in shadow areas, which is difficult if you do everything before a shader instead of after the shader.
Right, yeah, because you can basically see that it's too dark and then just add it up, and there's no more calculations to be done after that. So it's exactly what you say.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So that was a good question. I think a lot of people are really curious about this because it looks so good. Yeah. All right.
I would have the tiny car in real life.
Yeah. I really like that tiny car. I don't know if you guys noticed, but like it's used a lot in this short because I think it looks so nice. There's like I think 3 or 4 vans, like little smart cars, because the one that explodes is a tiny car. The one that so if we watch this a little further,
can't we go any faster?
That's a tiny car. There's the tiny car right next to him. There's the tiny car that hits the guy in the next shot is also a tiny car. So that one just had the perfect shape and size for us, like so many different things. And I was like, yeah, that's that worked out because it was really nice. Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to talk about this environment as well, just because I feel like Ruki and I were working on the look dev for this, and I happened to find like an old file before we started doing it, and I wanted to show that off as just like a before and after.
Speed limit log engaged. This is for your own safety.
Okay, so this was a big project. I mean, oh, by the way, look at those windows. Look at the parallax. Anyway, so Ruki did a really good job adding all the sort of details into the city that we needed to with the parallax stuff, and then also getting the colors looking really nice. And so this is what it used to look like. Oh wait, hang on. Oh, I have it here. One second. And this is what it used to look like. Here we go. So there was no sky for one, obviously. There was no real lighting for anything. There was just it was just it was just some shaders that I know Leo threw on some shaders as placeholders with all the textures that would look really great, and that was basically it. So we had to take this and basically make it look as pretty as possible, and to match the paint over and the amazing work that Christoph did on the city in the other asset. So this is actually a separate asset called the city treadmill. And this is the one that loops as sort of like a way for us to cheat the animation. And yeah, a big process of that was using the emission planes that we decided to develop, discover. I don't know what the right term is. But Ruki,
magically found.
Yeah, it was revealed to us by the gods. So we actually, Ruki and I were working on this, and we were randomly just talking about like how to execute it. And Ruki, I remember Ruki mentioned was like, oh, I really wish we could just add some light, as if it was like a Photoshop layer, and just add like an add layer on top of this area, and not have to worry about the shader, not to worry about light counts or nothing. And I was like, oh well, technically speaking, transparency nodes act as multiplies if you
and I was
change
like,
the color.
yeah, but I don't want to multiply.
Yeah.
I don't want to darken it.
Dylan, why are you telling me such useless information? Oh my god.
And then I was like, oh, wait a second. Wait, what if I hooked up an emission to that? And then I did that. And then Dylan fixed it, and then it worked.
Yeah, we got it working, and basically what it does is it's a plane. So we have these emission planes. So a lot of this, especially if you look at the city in the background, but just like on the sides, you see there's some blue light, for example, being cast over on these windows here on the right. That's not a light, that's not a shader, that's actually a plane that has a blue gradient on it that isn't just there as a semi-transparent thing, but actually as a emission plane, which basically makes whatever's behind it look brighter. And that's something that was really, really important to get it to be believable as light. And it worked really, 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 really well, actually.
Yeah, because you can stack them on each other as well.
Yeah, you can stack them for
very well
added effect. And it's basically free for performance-wise, because planes are very cheap, and the GPU is handling this process very simply. And it just works. And we didn't have to worry about any of the light counts. We didn't have to worry about instances. We didn't have to worry about any of that kind of stuff. And that's one of the big reasons why I mentioned earlier, we can basically view it in real time, because there was just so many shortcuts in that sense taken to achieve this look. And that made a big difference for us in being able to achieve it efficiently, because it was a pain using the lights and very, very heavy on the scene. So yeah. I thought you could do a mission for add with transparency. Yes, exactly. Yeah, that was a fix. Exactly. Dr. Bro, what do you know? Always knowing all the secrets. Did you guys also do that for the fog effect? Yes, if we're talking about the one in the back, yes, absolutely. So we did that. It was a combination of both. We did sort of a slider between whether or not it's fully multiplied or whether it's just a normal transparency thing, and that worked out pretty well as well. So we sort of combined those two techniques. But yeah. Also for the sky, is that an HDRI you guys used, or is that also procedural or a solid color? Oh, that's a great question for Christoph, actually. Christoph did the world shader, and it looks really, really good. And you also did the clouds. So I thought that might be something you want to talk about real quick.
There's some painted ones in there. I think some of them might have been replaced. Ruki can chime in.
I used what you already had.
Oh, okay.
Pretty already. I didn't change anything.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. We painted some of the backgrounds. I love painting backgrounds. Like I love doing a lot of procedural stuff, but when it comes to like the backgrounds, yeah, it's just very fun to just go in Photoshop and paint some stuff. It's just
that's fair.
I love it.
So the clouds are painted, and then I believe the background, like for the stars, was that procedural or was that painted as well?
I might have searched for a star map. I might have. Oh, go ahead.
It looked painted to me. It looked like you painted it. It was like an aqua rectangular thing. Maybe you bashed some things together.
No, I think yeah, that's possible. But I think it definitely was, because I do remember the backdrop being loaded in. So.
I did have a version where I had like an actual star map. I think Leo said just use the stars, and I just Milky Way and pasted it on. It might have been a bit too much, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it looks,
I love it.
Looks great. I love the clouds, because the clouds were an interesting thing, where I know, Christoph, the way you did it was you had a dome that just had the cloud texture with like an alpha, and that feels really nice, because you can really control where it's being placed without having to affect anything else.
Oh yeah, and you can even bake that and then go into Photoshop and paint on top of that too and tweak it. it's very multifunctional. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense. All right, let's keep watching. Tiny car.
There's a tunnel coming up soon. Signal's gonna go dark until you come back out.
Come on.
Abby, do you...
The USB. Oh, I figured we could talk about that for a second. Because I wanted to just show off this. Hang on, let me just make sure I can go back to this one. I wanted to show off the USB like render that Christoph showed me originally when he was doing it. So Leo modeled this USB. This is just a fun fact for those of you guys who remember the first video, because the first video had a USB in it with a very sophisticated transform sequence. And Leo, I remember I basically gave you this really like crappy USB that was like made of cubes or something. And I was like, Leo, can you update this and make it look just as good as everything else, please? Because I know you could do a good job. And he made this, and I don't know if you guys remember what it used to look like, but basically it was like this, but like way worse. And like this far less detail, and there's sort of anyway. But it looks very sci-fi, very high tech. And then Christoph put some gradient shaders on it.
I like this USB.
Yeah, I think it's great. The metal feels really really nice in this shader, especially because there's so many, I don't know, grooves and stuff. But check this out. It just works. Everything just works. I mean, it was great because, Christoph was able to just come up with this shader, and the animation fit really well with it. You also have some edge highlights here, I see, right, Christoph?
Yeah, there's just different implementations of the gradient shader. Like where it's rubber, I just used less of the gradient, and the gradients are bigger. And then if you want more shiny, you make the gradient smaller. There's edge highlights, of course, and then it's also on top of your regular shading, so you can also add a bit more reflectiveness or a bit more roughness on some things to help it out. It all interacts with each other a bit. But yeah, I love the animation. Like when I saw it, I was like, yeah.
Thank you. Shaking. It's like, what the hell is the USB?
Yeah, when it shakes, it's really good.
I'm glad you guys like it. This is actually this is
a little wiggle.
I could actually say I animated this. Yeah, no, that's
very nice.
I'm glad you guys like it. Yeah, the one thing I wanted to point out is that you can actually see the shadow of the of like this little circle thing here, so you can see that the shading is still very dynamic, which is so cool. But like, I just think it's a great execution of this stylization.
Yeah, I really like this one. I think as a standalone asset, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's an art piece. I mean, look at that. Yeah, it's great. So I wanted to point that out because we don't really get a chance to see it like in close up, in the actual video. So I figured I'd point that out. But yeah, let's see here. All right. Oh, we're going into the tunnel. Here we go.
Once you enter that tunnel, you're on your own.
Yes. Copy. I'll be fine, Tab.
Be careful.
Yeah, I personally love this tunnel. And I remember specifically I was talking to Ruki about it because I was like, the tunnel needs to feel basically, because we're talking about the colors and what it should be and stuff. And I was basically like, the tunnels need to feel like this sort of psychedelic getaway almost, separate from the rest of the world, because it story-wise is separate from the rest of the world. It has the like no signal kind of feel, and like there's no dialogue. It's very much a concentrated like experience essentially. And Ruki sent me this, which is really, really pretty. And she just came up with these colors and was like, oh, this is I believe, Ruki, you said it was inspired by like Willy Wonka, right?
Yeah, that, because you were describing it, psychedelic lonely pocket of the world, and I just thought of that bizarre scene in the original Willy Wonka film where they're on the boat and it's so sinister and it's really creepy, and I love that part because I hate that movie, but I love that part. And so yeah, I had that in mind.
Yeah.
When I was doing this.
Yeah, and and it turned out really, really well. I mean, so Leo modeled this, by the way. Leo did a great job with this as well. I mean,
I did.
yeah, I
I
remember.
really like it.
Yeah, it turned out great. I mean, just to show you guys what it started out with, again, like this is finally relevant because I showed this earlier in stream, but this here is the original tunnel. So this is actually the tunnel that Shane made for just blockouts and stuff. And I had talked to him. Well, actually, I think I made this. Now that I think about it, no, I can't remember. No, did I? Anyway, so no, actually, Shane did not make this tunnel. I'm just kidding. I actually made this. Sorry, because Shane didn't know there was a tunnel until later. But anyway, so I made a tunnel, unbeknownst to everyone. But this was like the proxy tunnel that we used for all the shots, and it's a really simple tunnel. It's just like I knew that we wanted to have these round edges to make it believable that they could drive on the walls. And I knew that we wanted it to loop, so we had like the looping, mechanism built into this and everything like that. And if you play it here, you can actually see how the looping mechanism works. So if we actually, press play here, it basically just, in this situation, I think it's actually just moving the UVs. But what we did for the actual asset was we moved basically an array modifier along a curve, and we had just like a tunnel that was moving past the characters, similar to the city strip treadmill, which this basically is as well. This is a treadmill. But yeah, and then Leo turned it into whatever magic this is, and then Ruki made it like this actual psychedelic wonderland. So that was really, really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like the colors and everything else.
Yeah.
Is this using a volumetrics here, or the glow that we see? It's from the bloom.
Both actually. Yeah, we have both. So Christoph is the one who was able to get it to look like this, by the way. So it's a very collaborative effort. I mean, it's so cool. So Christoph, I know Christoph added the volumetric at the bottom to get that look, and also added bloom and made sure that the lights and stuff were bright. Did you want to talk a little bit more about this tunnel, Christoph, from your end?
Yeah, it's mostly just emission and bloom, and it worked out great.
Someone was mentioning Tron.
Yeah, Tron. Lots of Tron nostalgia, yeah, for sure.
I think one of the most difficult things was, silly enough, the lights on top, like the
central spine area.
Yeah. I couldn't get it to look right with regular lighting. It looked blotchy and stuff like that. And I think I spent a long time on it and just gave up and did it in the shader, and I don't think anybody noticed.
Oh yeah, that worked out great. I mean, yeah, certainly, I agree. I mean, it's kind of similar to how you did like fake lighting and everything else, and it blends in really well. So that's good.
Yeah, if things are difficult lighting wise, and you need things to glow a bit more than you can with regular lighting, or you need it to look stylized, fake lighting, yes, it's a big thing.
Yes, I agree. Very, very useful. Yeah. Dr. Bro says, wait a second, if those guys can drive up the wall, does that mean they are moving fast enough to drive up the wall? Or does each bike have an up the wall or upside down function? I'm going with centripetal force here. So yeah. I mean, unless each wheel has claws, but that's fine. Small Sasa says, I love the scene where the light just reflects in Abby's glasses. I'm glad you liked it. Also, long time no see. I'm glad you're here. This scene was actually one of my favorite scenes as well. And actually, I'll talk about the scene for a second because this has a lot to do with look dev. I didn't really talk about it in the animation stream. But Saranen actually animated the shot. This scene was particularly troublesome from a look dev perspective because these lights are not actually reflecting the environment. So these lights had to be manually animated to pass by her face so that they would reflect properly. And they were sort of like looped around in a certain way to match with the environment's sort of like placement and the speed of the environment. And also, ironically, the environment the speed of the environment passing had to be tweaked because the perspective made it look like it was going really, really slow because you're just looking down the tunnel essentially. And the focal length is like a certain whatever. I think it was, the focal length was very, very high. So I mean, we had to really cheat the shot. I actually made the environment move by faster. I made the lights sort of like pass by her face in a particular way, as well as making sure that there's cast lights on her face as well, which is partly from the background, but also partly from those lights that we hand key for that. So yeah, this I paid particular attention to this shot. And then from a compositing perspective, one thing that I mentioned a little bit in the animation stream is that the line art was not playing well with the goggles. So I had to make sure that the line art was composited underneath the goggles, not actually being underneath it because I didn't separate them out, but actually just being more transparent. So technically these lines are being composited on top of the goggles, but they're being basically cut out as like a cookie cutter with a half transparency. So that was something that I had to do along with some other shots, but it looks really good. I'm really happy with how this shot turned out, actually. But yeah, you can kind of see the lights here, like when it's looping. So this is actually an area light that's basically been stretched down and being reflected. So this is where the light ends. You're not supposed to see that. It's supposed to be going all the way down the glasses, but it's fine. It disappears next frame. But yeah, I'm glad the wheels of the bike look the way they do because they were spinning backwards for a lot of shots. Yeah, that is very true. That is very true.
This is one of my favorite ones.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it.
It's just very cinematic, I think.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it. So this, by the way, this is a internally, the name for this shot was Abby Goggles Wallpaper Shot, and that's just how I imagined it in my head. I was like, this is like, it needs to be like a wallpaper type of shot, and that has a lot to do with the cinematic feel, and of course, like something that you can just like stare at it for like a few seconds and take it in. So yeah.
We should add it to the splash screen.
Yeah. We should add it. I think there's quite a few things for Discord that I haven't taken advantage of, like server banners and like stuff like that I and welcome screens and stuff. That would be really cool. The whole CyberKatsu 2 is wallpaper shots. Ah, God, yeah. I mean, yeah, they're really pretty.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. What's that? Dr. Bro.
Dr. Bro. The bros. Wallpaper engine scene? Honestly, yeah, that'd be kind of cool, actually. I would not mind that, personally. I've made some wallpaper engine stuff in the past. I haven't done that in a long time, but if I do have some time to put this and throw this on there, maybe I'll do that, because that would be kind of nice. Just for myself, because it'd be fun to see. Yeah. When you say you composited the line art, does that mean it was the freestyle setting or was it a grease pencil? Does that mean grease pencil was rendered out to a separate layer? Yes, Dr. Bro, I see you're trying to pick my brain on how grease pencil was able to work. And yes, to explain basically the process, grease pencil was composited as a separate layer. And the way we got it to work more consistently was simply by having it only draw on the character with the character in the scene, with only in that particular view layer, and then no others. So that was how we got the render times down. But yeah, it just uses the default settings for the most part, but we only use I believe the intersections and the contour settings for that, I think, and edge marks, of course. But yeah, the line art modifier worked relatively well. I do feel like there's a lot of things that we can improve on it because it's still very basic line art, but functionally it works very well, and I'm excited to test more things in the future. But yeah, so the reason why that's a thing is because it was calculating the background for occlusion, which basically means it's trying to figure out where not to draw. That's a waste of time because if you just draw everywhere on the character and then you just mask out the background in post, it's the same thing. So that's what we did, but the render times became normal again. So it's functionally the same as having the line art deal with the occlusion, but it makes no sense for it to do that. So we did that in post. Yeah. I'll take some time to catch up with some questions. But the character models, how did you pull off dynamic lighting for the shaders where the environment lights affect them, like when the green lights pass over Abby's face here? That is through basically a light effects node that I've created that allows the lights to, kind of similarly to the emission planes, they have like a multiplier or whatever, like an add or whatever effect from the environment onto the existing shader. So it doesn't affect the shading, but affects the colors. So yeah, let's keep watching. We're about halfway through. This is good.
I remember that you guys were mentioning in the previous stream that they were worried with the guy that got stabbed in the back.
Oh yeah. yeah.
He's fine.
Yeah, he's fine.
It's fine.
He's fine. He's fine.
It's a PG. It's a PG animation. He's fine.
Yeah, you see the knife is actually an illusion.
In the armpit.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He actually caught that. See, he caught that knife very elegantly just with his spine. So yeah.
And he's so happy about it. He has to drive away to tell his friends.
Yeah, I mean, it's so realistic that it jump scared me for a second there.
Yeah.
Oh no, the Raven.
Yeah, no, he loves his new knife. He's gonna go play with it at home. Yeah, that's great. I love how mesh trails turned out, by the way, just as like a aside, because these, like especially that last sword cut, just feels so nice, and it was just basically plug and play, and I really liked how that turned out, because you just add some bloom, and then it works. Look at that. Look at this. I mean, just look at that. So this is actually just with, for those of you guys who have messed with mesh trails, this is literally with the default shader. Like we didn't do anything crazy, and we just added 2 subframes, I think, and just subdivided it, and which is already automatic anyway. Now anyway, and yeah, it just works. Look at that. Look how smooth that arc is. Anyway.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's honestly.
Try it. I don't use this kind of stuff in my own work, but I would still like to try it.
Yeah, you should. It's actually really easy to pick up. And
the sole of the shoes again. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
I've never noticed that before. I've never noticed that before.
Yeah. No, it's really cool. A lot of people have mentioned it. So the soles of the shoes are actually.
That's so cute.
Yeah, they're paw prints. Yeah, super cute. Let me see if I can get another angle of it. I think right here it might be a good one too. Oh, hey. Nah, darn. Oh well, anyway. But yeah, the arc gun was actually the one who here we go. Yes, that's a good one. So yeah, the arc gun, when she designed Abby last year, she was like, I'm gonna add this in here for people to find out about later. Like that was literally like what she was talking about.
I want one of these.
I know. So cool. I know, right? Like it feels like actually a great product. Yeah, I would honestly love shoes that have soles like these.
Yeah, I don't know.
You better copyright it really quick.
Oh yeah, true.
That's such a good idea.
Yeah, it's funny because speaking of wardrobe, just in general, like Emma, who's the voice actress for Abby and Tabby, she kept mentioning to me like, I really want those jackets. Like if you ever sell those jackets, I would want to, please just give me one. I was like, yeah, I mean they're pretty stylish. I can't lie. Yeah, new merch, Katsu Yeezys. Oh god. Yeah, but anyway, love these shoes. I love these shoes. Oh, and just a fun fact. I think we mentioned this in the animator stream, but like this whole mesh trail sequence here was actually more or less improvised. We didn't plan for it to be there, but I was like, I think it might be cool if the soles glowed and added the trail. And because mesh trails, because we were testing it anyway, it just worked. Like we didn't actually have to do anything. It just followed the animation. It was good. So really cool. I mean, the effect would not have been possible otherwise, to be completely honest. We didn't have time for that. But yeah, anyway. Oh yeah, one thing I wanted to mention too is the motion blur on the tunnel. So this is something that I was making sure it was happening as part of the look dev at the very end, which was that we actually had the biggest worry about the tunnel at the time when we were doing view tests and stuff was that it was a little bit too epileptic, because without motion blur, you basically have these really bright lights in these really dark places sort of appearing on screen and disappearing as if it's blinking. And that happened because you couldn't really perceive the motion in the frames. So what I did was I simply added the motion blur to just the background. So you actually don't see it on the characters at all. And what that allows us to do is keep this sort of stylized character look, but have the motion blur on the background feel just a little bit more natural, a bit more realistic, and to have that that natural movement implied, so that it felt a lot less epileptic in that sense. And I think it worked out pretty well. But that was just an interesting, necessary step that we had to take, which was done in After Effects, and it was the only thing done in After Effects. Everything else is just Blender.
The only thing.
Yes, that's not the only thing. Not the only thing. We'll get to that, Rookie. We'll get to that. I'm actually very excited to show that part. Stay tuned. Yeah.
The cartoon.
Wait, why does this sound? Oh, we're good.
I love this.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Oh, this is something that like Leo and I worked on for the tunnel exit too. That gets this nice little cameo of like, oh hey, look, it's 2 billboards. And then it passes by. But like we needed like a convincing exit, because we were like, okay, we have the entrance, and then we just had basically like missing geo for the openings and the endings. So Leo threw together this really nice thing, and look, there's even a ladder. Look at that ladder.
There's even a ladder.
So good. Greatest ladder.
Yeah, I wanted to add that for a sense of scale, because I was like, oh, this is just a gigantic concrete.
Yeah, yeah, it's
maybe,
fair.
Something like a ladder would help. I did notice something that I don't think we should mention and just move along.
Okay. Yeah, let's move forward. Yes. Okay. Wow, what a great shot. Oh, this one, Christoph, you want to talk about this actually?
The dumpster.
The dumpster.
That was very late in the production. You gave me the dumpster and said, like, we have this dumpster. It needs to fit in. So,
yeah.
I added a whole bunch of details. Oh yeah, and also the tag on there, reveal, is like, because people were saying like, is it Dave? What the hell is that?
Oh, I want to know.
It's me making fun of my own name, because people have a hard time pronouncing it, and you pronounce it like it's like you pronounce it like a somebody from Denmark, a Dane. So it's like Kadane.
I've always read it as Kadadine.
Kadadine.
Yeah, actually. So the English version of my name is Dean. It's like the Dane is the Anglo-Saxon version, like before the Great Vowel Shift or some historical.
Huh.
Stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I ended up with a name that's very hard to pronounce and read and stuff.
I'm just gonna call you Christy.
That's okay. I think
that's exactly what I was hoping for. Yeah. No. Yeah.
And then also the don't feed this dumpster after midnight.
Yeah, I love that.
You shouldn't.
That was so good. Christoph, I don't know if you saw in the comments, but a lot of people noticed this. Like I was really surprised because it was such a quick shot. But in the comments, there's always like, I love how the dumpster says, "Don't feed this dumpster at midnight." Or like, oh, like I don't. Did you guys see the don't feed this dumpster? I was like, oh my god, that's so good. Yeah, I thought.
But
it was
even now, I'm like with the shoes and the soles, is like, oh god, this is full of tiny details.
Yeah.
I haven't seen before. I think sometimes people sort of freeze just to find the Easter eggs. But
yes.
Yeah, that's great.
I agree.
It's a lot of fun. Like if you're done with your object or whatever you're doing, and you have just a little extra time just to add some details, it's always a lot of fun.
Yeah. It paid off too. I was
also
gonna
like that cardboard that is aligned with the car door.
Yes, this cardboard here, right, like over on the left.
Yeah, it's aligning with the window.
Oh yeah.
That is like, it's a weird perspective there.
Yeah. The I was curious, Christoph, about the noise that you use for this dumpster, because I feel like it feels very sort of like almost like what's the word, like colored paper or something like that, like, you know, this sort of nice organic texture. Did you use anything in particular? Was this procedural, like for these like little filaments here?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So the little damage marks is just a Voronoi, and you just mask it out with the noise.
Wow.
It's pretty simple, but you add it on afterwards with a color dodge, and then that makes it pop and highlight. Same for the edges. It's a color dodge, and the color dodge makes it interact with the color. So whatever color is underneath gets boosted. So you still keep the colors in the highlights, which is pretty cool. And then there's also a gradient with a noise mixed in. You can see just like about at the height of the costume.
Right here. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that adds a lot. And then there's a bunch of gradients. I mean, splashed across. Yeah, like God rays or something.
Yeah. I'm noticing those diagonal ones that feel really nice.
Yeah, it's just me like putting layers and layers on top of it. But then usually it ends up being a bit too much, and you just bring everything down, and at the end you just mix it so it's very, very subtle. But yeah, it does help. Yeah,
I feel I get this feeling of like your shader process is basically like, I love gradients, and then like, oh, I can't let anyone know how much I love gradients. And you like tone it back.
True.
Yeah,
that's true. but I think it's similar to how people in Photoshop just add layers and layers and layers, and then in the end
like 3%.
And then set it to like 3%. Yeah, exactly. It's for me the shader stuff is like trying to paint in lighting. Procedurally.
Yeah, and that's a great way to describe it as well. So yeah. Anyway, I love how this turned out. It was really.
But
really
even the metal bar is that's not a metal shader. It's just a gradient.
Right. Yeah. So good. All right, let's keep going.
Hey, Tats.
Abby, tell me you still have it.
For now.
Oh, that's bad.
Oh man, I can talk a little bit about this shot because it was like a big test shot for me. But like Ruki and I were working on this bridge for a while, and it was one of the most interesting things that I ran into was the fact that the characters blended in with the environment. And I talked a little bit about this in the animator call last time, but we were able to solve it by these giant emission planes that you guys can see. So we have those two emission planes on the right and left, which basically are light bleed from the city. And so you get to see like, oh, what if it was just really bright underneath and it lit everything up? And that's sort of what we had. And it's like a fake volumetric in a way. And that helped the character stand out a lot more. So you can see, like, you can actually see his silhouette. Whereas like in the old versions, he was just sort of like, he would just blend in with the background because he was the same value. And then I had to get some stuff with the bikes working as well to get his silhouette to stand out in front of that as well, which was done with a volumetric, but basically the same idea. But Ruki did a great job with the highway. I really, really like the colors for the highway, which also had to do with a paint over. Can I find that one? Yes, this one. So this paint over for the highway has like these really great purple and yellow colors that helps bring everything out. And of course, Christoph's Amazing Cars, starring Christoph's Amazing Cars. Yeah, and
Amazing Sky.
Yes, was that? Oh, is this Christoph's as well?
Yeah. The only thing I did to the sky because I had to edit it in for the scene, I just added some orange. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's really, really pretty. Yeah. So yeah, that was the highway. I mean, the highway was a big challenge for us because this whole end scene was like, I was like tearing my hair apart because I was like, I can't see them. I was like, I can't see them. But it worked out really, really well, and everything blended well together. Yeah. I want to talk about this as well. There's actually, so these lights here, you can see the glare on these street lights. Ruki actually worked on these, and they're completely fake, right? Like, these are completely fake. Yeah. So these lights are actually just basically transparent. No, they're not emission planes. Actually, I might have added some emission onto them to make them a little bit brighter. But they follow the camera, and they basically just pretend to be like this glare, and it adds a lot to the scene and being able to like get these lights to pop out and be like, hey, we're on a highway right now, which is really, really good. I did end up having to remove the lights later because it started becoming a problem when there was horizontal shots because it would sort of pass by really quickly and then like sort of disappear. So if you see like in these shots in the fight, for example, it was starting to blend in with the swords. So that was one thing that I had to do where like the lights were starting to confuse the viewer as like, oh, that light, that little circular pink thing, was that like an impact of the sword or something like that, or was that like a movement of the sword? So that was something that was really confusing for like a long time until I eventually was like, oh crap, it's the lights that are doing that, because they would just pop in for one frame and just disappear. But yeah, other than that, it was really good and a really great solution for adding lights without adding lights. Wow, look at that. That's just another day in avoiding lights. I don't think we really didn't use that many lights at all wherever we could because of the emission planes just in general. But
yeah, once we worked that out, that was actually really good.
A huge game changer, I think. Yeah.
Should we talk about I mean, I've seen so many comments about it. The bike bending, the motor.
The bike bending, yes.
Bike bending.
The motorcycle kinesis, I believe, is another term people have used. Yeah, I mean,
to be honest,
yeah.
When I first saw it, I was like, okay, this is so silly.
Yeah.
But then I was like, okay, I think I get it.
That's fair. That's fair.
What else would he do?
Yeah, I mean, what else would he do, right? It's just a standard power. Yeah, no, that's the consensus. I think when we were talking to Shane and the animators, like Shane was mentioning, like I basically told Shane, like, hey, what if we just had 100 bikes and they were the ground? Like, they were just like, we just made a ground out of bikes, and he was like, okay. Like I guess
weird, but it worked.
Yeah, it worked. It ended up working really well. I mean, I was killing myself too. I was like, why did I do this? Because I was like dealing with the whole look dev of like, how do you even get 150 bikes to not look like a bunch of noise in the scene? Like, because from a look dev perspective, that's like a nightmare.
Is it really 150?
It is exactly 154, I think.
It's crashing so much. Jeez. And it was the model, the main model for that Abby was using, right?
No, we did use the proxy version of the bikes for these because there was so many of them. So we couldn't handle the geometry for 150 final bikes. But it looked great. I think it worked out pretty well. As a small little tip, I think I actually mentioned this in the animation stream as well, but these wheels could not be animated because there were so many bikes. Because moving geometry is more expensive than static geometry in Blender for FPS. And
it's new
very. I mean, we had that with the tunnel as well, actually. So if the geometry's not moving, you can actually play back at 25 FPS, and sometimes that's even the heaviest things can play back at 25 FPS.
You did mention that you changed the interior of the bike for something that was rotating or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So
was it that what you done?
It's exactly this one. Yeah. So the wheels here. Okay. The wheels on the normal bikes actually do rotate physically. So that's like a driver on the rotation for the object, and it works out great for the bone. But for this one, that was too expensive. The FPS would drop like crazy because that's all this geo suddenly moving in a infinite pattern, and it was just like slowing down the scene. So I actually just deleted that driver, deleted the animation, and then added a simple driver in the shader for a UV scroll for the bikes, for the bike wheels. And the bike wheels look like they're moving, but they're not really moving. So just a little cheat for you guys.
It's a smart optimization.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well. Yeah. Yes, only 300 lights in one shot. Yeah, Calypsy, that's accurate. Hey, how's it going, man? I hope you're doing well. But the lights and stuff were something that we really had to avoid, just because like, from a performance perspective and also just like from the limitation perspective. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. 128 is the max. Yeah.
No, Abby, that's Stretch. He's the leader of the Raven Blades. We've been trying to catch this guy for years. You're no match for him.
Well,
Oh, this is just a fun fact. Since I'm sure you guys are curious about fun facts. I don't know. Abby's bike originally was supposed to stay orange. So her bike was supposed to just be like, linked up and like stuck to the bike C, which by the way, the sea of bikes I call the bike C. So Anyway,
Creepy.
not like the bike seas, you know, but like the bike sea, like the sea, like the ocean. Anyway,
And here's the surfer.
yeah, yes, accurate. But her bike was supposed to stay orange, but like I basically was like, I'm not gonna. I don't want her bike to be in the other shots. Like, I was just so tired of her bike because it was like a really high poly bike, and like I would have to account for it each time. So I was like, no. So I literally just changed it green so that I could ignore it for the rest of the video. And yeah, it worked out. I mean, I think it actually makes more sense because having the orange bike would attract more attention. But that was
part
the
of
reason.
the swarm now.
Yeah, it's part of the swarm now. So I just deleted it after that. Yeah. Yeah.
Zombie.
Yep. Anyway, so that's that.
And I also noticed that it's black. The bike. Did it lost its shaders, or was it a
it did.
angle?
Yeah, that's a good question. So like, there's some shots that have it a lot darker, and that's because, yeah, it is black in this particular shot. But in the previous shot, I had to basically adjust the shading. That was because I believe of like a lighting issue that wasn't resolved because it was happening in a few shots and we didn't have time. But
Right.
yeah, it passes fast enough where it disappears. And now I don't have to worry about it because it's gone. Look at that, it's gone. Everything's fine. Oh wait, it's still there. It's orange. Oh god. Anyway, but yeah, so that was that. This particular shot is an example also of like the bright emission planes in the background really helping the character stand out, because originally like the windows and like everything that was black, you know, and like that was like these dark colors, and then you would just have these dark characters in front of them, and it was not working out at all. So yeah, these shots turned out great because of it.
Who did the evil guy's voice?
Shane.
'Cause I was like, really? I was surprised. I love the effect on it. I was surprised by how menacing it actually sounded.
Yeah.
I heard it for the first time.
I completely agree. Yeah, Shane.
Yeah,
Shane saved
really good.
the day. Yeah, I agree.
It was so good.
Shane saved the day. He did a lot of voices. He did the rat voice too.
Really?
Yeah, at the very
That's
beginning.
cool.
Yeah, he did the rat voice, and then he also did something that I forgot to do, which is like the efforts and the grunts of every single person that, yeah, except for the girls, of course. The girls were Emma, but yeah, he had to add all that in for like the jackal guards and like the raven bikers. Every time they got hit,
Exactly.
yeah, it used to just be silent, and like he was like, I'm gonna make some noises, and I was like, yeah, okay.
They can't just be stoic.
No, indeed, they must have emotion and families to go home to.
PG.
Yeah, and that guy, that nice guy who got a brand new knife to take home to his kid. So
nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
very-
like pretty purple,
yeah.
glowy.
yeah,
Only tiny bits of blood on it.
yeah, and it's not even his blood. Okay, maybe a little bit. Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, Shane did a great job with the voice. He also choreographed this entire sequence. So I mean, he's just super talented. Yeah.
Yeah, I was seeing the videos in a previous stream that he was recording like some weird moves that he was doing to make the
reference,
the promo video as well.
Yeah. That was Saranen. Saranen.
That was really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. Saranen recorded some whip sword footage with a power cord and a Swiffer handle, and it worked surprisingly well because it turned out great. But yeah, animators do weird things sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes in the studio there were like a bunch of people like recording themselves. The animators sometimes would do that. Like
Oh
in the middle
yeah.
of the office, like just doing weird moves for them to. Like,
That's accurate. Yeah, that happened to me as well. Like when I was at Rooster Teeth, like there was definitely times where people would just get up and just like be like, okay, what is this? Okay, and then just sit back down, and I'm like, oh. what are you doing? But yeah,
expecting like something exciting, and then it's just like, okay.
yeah. But yeah, so the voice was great. Shane also modulated my voice for the police announcement thing, which was the only voice that I did.
Yeah, I wanted to know when that was because I didn't notice the first time I watched.
Yeah, I'll show you. It's coming up. Well, it'll be after this fight. It's basically right afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah.
Oh, the pilot part.
Yeah, the pilot when he's like, halt.
Oh, that's cool.
Drop your weapon. You see the resemblance now? Yeah.
Yeah, we also should do a comparison. I want to hear it without the modulation.
Oh,
as
please.
well.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Maximum effort.
I'll perform that for you live.
Yay, thank you.
In a British accent?
No, God, no.
Yeah, you can do a British accent.
Oh yeah, totally. Oh yeah, I
Or
can
do a
totally
cowboy accent. Cowboy accent.
That's just how I sound.
No, but like, a cowboy from a trailer park accent.
Oh yeah, those cowboys,
Yeah.
the ones that ride trailers.
Well, it's not so different than riding bikes, a sea of bikes.
Oh my God, you're right. Oh my God. Oh wow. Yeah.
Wow.
All this time he was a bike wrangler. Anyway, okay, let's continue. I was gonna talk about this this effect here for the helmet, but it's really quite simple. I just bought it and I put it on there. So this is just an image sequence that of like a VFX pack that I bought for sci-fi stuff, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I put it on there, and I was like, I think I used like a color dodge, and then I was like, hey, look at that. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
Love this fight. It looks so good.
I like how he's like, nice try, then 5 seconds later he's dead.
Yeah, I mean that's you can't celebrate too early. life lessons, Yeah.
Oh my God! Okay, now you do it.
You see the resemblance now?
No, it doesn't sound like you at all. I want it. You do it now.
No, I can't do it on. It's there's a lot of pressure now.
Do it with the British accent.
Oh my God, that's even worse. I mean, easier, obviously, because I'm British naturally. It's funny because I mean, like, because Kaz technically, he's got the accent down. He could.
Wow, now you're just.
He could do it.
Shoving it onto others. This is your responsibility. You agreed to do it.
Okay. So this was my voice. So Shane, I originally sent it to Shane as just like, basically it was just me, but I had like made it just a pitch lower, and like I had added like a little radio filter to it. And then he was like, the first thing that he sent me after I sent like the entire video to him to do sound, the first thing he sent me was like, hey, I fixed your voice. And he just showed me this clip, and it had like this great like sound to it at the beginning, and then like this intimidation factor, and he like modulated it all, and I was like, yes, thank you. Because that was gonna be really bad. Let's listen to it again real quick in the correct form.
Halt! You are under arrest. Please drop your weapon.
Whoa, Dad!
And now the incorrect form.
And now the incorrect. Halt! You are under arrest. Please drop your weapon. Doesn't quite have the same effect. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not intimidating enough.
Yeah, because I'm so nice. I'm such a nice guy.
Nah, it's because you have green hair. I can't take you seriously.
That's intimidating. That could be intimidating. Yeah.
Well, maybe if in like a creepy way, maybe if you like a dark night and someone's walking after you and they have bright green hair and
it's like, yeah,
eyes.
This man seems radioactive in some way. I can see that. This makes sense.
Wearing sunglasses at night.
Yeah. Not shady at all. Not at all.
But your shades are.
Yeah. So anyway, PNG Lauki was actually asking, how did you do the punch effect? And that's a good question because I don't even know. No, I'm just kidding. That was an effect's done by Late as Usual, and he basically, it's actually the same effect that we used for Katsu, or I should say Avatar Cats, which was a shockwave effect. And this shockwave effect is, I believe, on Late's Twitter somewhere. He actually posted about it. It's very, very simple. It's just a refraction shader with like a Fresnel. So like it just acts like glass on the edges and then nowhere else. And yeah, you just do that, and then you just sort of expand it, and There you go. It kind of works. Of course.
So it's like a sphere.
Yeah, it is actually a sphere. It's basically a sphere. We tried it with like a ring. That was like one of the first things that Cody tried, just getting a ring ripple, but it didn't quite get the effect down as well because it was sort of very 2D looking and didn't have the same effect. So this has like the nicer rim, and Late just sort of put it on. One thing that's interesting about that is, oh, and the refraction as well works a lot better with a sphere because you have the more distortion with the angle of that geometry. But refraction is basically cursed. So yeah, so we did like an analysis of like things about this project that, you know, went right or wrong or whatever, like this week. And Late wrote on his thing, he was like, never use refraction again. Yeah, so I mean, the reason for that is like basically refraction doesn't work well with other things that have refraction. You can basically only have one thing that has refraction showing at a time, and then anything behind that has refraction disappears. It just doesn't exist. And it also messes with alpha blend transparency, which you can kind of see in the fact that like as this travels across, the lighting for the city disappears. And it kind of works because it's supposed to draw attention to itself. But if you guys can see, like, there's lighting here for the city, and then as you look through the refraction of this sphere here, there's no lighting there. It's just dark. And that's a good example of what it would have looked like without the emission planes, by the way, which is like you can barely tell the difference between his cloak and the city. But yeah, there was that. And then also Abby herself had some refraction because she has a cloaking shader. And that's like this whole thing. And Ramen pointed out that nobody noticed that her pants changed color because it did. So you can see her leggings go from black to like this brownish color that it's supposed to be because we had to switch her out because any shader that has refraction doesn't work. You can actually see that she's invisible. Like she's completely see-through through this refraction shader. So that broke everything. If we had I'll use the same shader, as you can see here. The line art actually helps a little bit because it gives the illusion that she's there, but she's not. But if we had kept the shader, she basically would have disappeared for all these frames, like all these frames. But we actually had to switch her out for a second model of Abby real quick during that one frame transition, so she wouldn't be a ghost for that, just like that cutout of her torso. So yeah, refraction shaders are cursed. Yep.
Sad.
But they look great.
They're cool.
Yeah, they're really, really good. But yeah, that's really the only issue. But
that's interesting. Did you guys try to kind of use transparency as well? So like transmission and transparency, like I don't know, like 50% or something, just to see if you would gain back like 50%.
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think we were able to try that. This was during our crunch week, but I do think it would still have the issue, but perhaps having just a little bit of that light shine through might have been worthwhile. The only issue, of course, is that, you know, the center where you get this like where you just basically want it to be fully transparent, that would be something that might be compromised, but that might be okay depending on how you do it. So yeah, that's something that we could try in the future. But yeah, refraction is cursed. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't like to use it in real time in Eevee. I mean,
that's fair.
Just kind of a mess.
That's fair. It looked great for the windows though. So the windows in the for the lab, the USB lab scenes looked pretty cool. So
yeah,
that was using refraction.
But it also didn't had all of that layering happening.
Exactly. Yeah, it was just one thing. And yeah, and like Rookie shot with the top view using the refraction planes. That was to basically do some extra post-processing, and that's what refraction is actually really, really good for. Doing these.
But I modified those ones though, so they could be layered on top of each other with transparency.
So they did actually have transparency in them, so that does work. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's why they were working on top of each other.
Yeah, it makes sense. So that's really cool, and I think refraction planes in general are very useful tools. Because Late also uses it for the motion blur effect, which is actually part of the Mesh Trails asset pack. So we actually have a motion blur sort of shader that allows us to do sort of these anime smears, and that uses refraction shaders to basically do a post effect, which is like a smear effect in real time, which is really, really cool. So yeah, anyway, cursed but blessed.
Can I ask something else about this refraction issue?
Sure.
You were saying that it messes up with the alphas. Does it mess up with the alpha hashed as well?
No. It works fine with alpha hashed, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it works fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just alpha blend. Yeah.
Alpha blend. Yeah. Because hashed uses a form of like pre-rendering, right? Because I can see noise happening when you use hashed.
Yep.
It's trying to calculate something there.
So alpha hash is basically alpha clip, but with a noise texture. That's basically what it is. It's very, very noisy because it's sampling something that is supposed to be
right.
Yeah, like fully.
It's like our blur node.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, noise dithering. Yes, exactly. It's super ugly, but it's the most accurate. That's the best way to describe it. Yeah. Yeah. I never use it because I don't want to put the samples into the scene. I'm just like, I don't want to spend those samples. You have to up the samples for Eevee like relatively high, and it just because like if you have like one alpha hash thing in the scene, upping those samples for everything is just not worth it. So, yeah, I tend not to use it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Fair enough.
All right. Let's keep going.
The surfing days are over.
Or are they? Oh.
I didn't have a choice.
That's not us.
We actually had a lot of look dev trial and error with the spotlights here because we're not using a volumetric and we're not using a volumetric light or anything like that, which I don't even know if exists in Eevee. But we are using basically a bunch of planes stacked together, which is kind of like volumetric. But this is something that Cody put together based on a sort of proof of concept that I made for it. And the most interesting thing about it was like there was a point in time where, because it's basically this cone shape, this physical cone mesh that has like this transparency, this 3D transparency built into it, that also meant that it was too strong for a few versions of it. And there was points in time where Abby was basically being like vaporized by a laser because you couldn't see her at all. It's just like this giant laser of like light, and she just disappeared in it. You could see her legs popping out. And that was it. So yeah, a bit of an interesting challenge. I want to talk about this.
Abby, be careful behind you.
Yeah, I want to talk about. So, okay, let's talk about. So I don't know what you guys thought, but I really enjoyed this glitch animation for the wolf mask. Like, it's so cool. I mean, look at that, right? So the story for this mask is actually something that I look upon very dearly. So what happened was I was like pulling all-nighters, and I was like, I need to. We actually animated this with the story in mind, but not actually like all these things looked depth and like finished up, you know. So there was a point in time where I was like, okay, so I know in the storyboard for sure we're gonna be having this mask display the wolf mask. So his helmet will display the wolf mask on a screen. That was the design choice. We planned for that from the very beginning. Leo, when he modeled the character, which he did a great job on, was like, okay, we got to make sure this visor looks like a screen. And we did all that, all solely so we could get this wolf mask on the screen. And so near the end of production, I was finally doing it. And I basically had gotten to the point where I had achieved the impossible, which was I created sad Doge meme in Blender. Yeah, so I was just sort of like, okay, I don't know exactly how I'm going to execute on this, because obviously just pasting the texture on was like my only plan, and it didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to. So I sent this to Ruki, and I was like, Actually, I didn't say anything else, and then she was like, "Okay, I'll fix it." I don't think we had a conversation specifically about what needed to be done, but I think you understood pretty clearly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you said you didn't want to bother me, and I told you already had because I was so horrified by what you had sent me.
Yeah, I was basically like, look, I know you're busy with other stuff, but if you have any ideas, but also I don't want, and you're like, this is unignorable, basically. I can't not do anything about this. I was like, okay, and then so, I actually wanted to show you guys something because we have the blend file here.
To
And
be honest, I think I like it.
I love it. Oh, that one. Oh, well, I don't know about that. I don't know if I'll agree with that, Leo.
Snoopy. We call him Snoopy.
Yeah, his name is Snoopy. This is Snoopy. Good old faithful Snoopy. What a great guy. Anyway, he's dead now because this is the new guy. So I had the blend file open because I want to show this off because Ruki made this like, I don't know, like in a day. And I was like, oh my God, like you just saved the entire video because without this whole escalation of, you know, seriousness, it would not have been good. So she made this amazing glitch effect, which you can really appreciate in 3D here because like it's on the helmet and looks great, right? So that's the first thing she did, which was amazing. This is done in After Effects.
So cool.
Yeah, this is done.
Yeah, just like generic. Because I actually did it in a few hours. I just used generic built-in stuff that After Effects already has.
Wow. Yeah, that's
to do it.
Really, really cool. And yeah, she threw that together, and I was just like, that's kind of amazing. So that's one thing taken care of because I was also wondering how I was going to do that. But I clearly planned things out very well, so that's fine.
Can we see the outlines showing up as well in the trailer?
Yes.
In the animation.
Yes, you can. And actually, there's a couple places where I use this, including the billboard at the end, so you can see it very clearly in that version. But also in a couple other places. But the actual animation, you see it more clearly, probably in the first half, which is actually where he's sort of on the ground. But yeah, so if you go here, I believe. Yes, you see the outlines here on his helmet, right there. So there it is.
Yeah.
And you get the really cool glitch animation, and you're like, oh, he's getting hacked, and you can actually see all that and get the idea very quickly because Ruki did an amazing job. So I wanted to show off something else though, because this is the coolest part to me, and I wish we had more moments in the video to show this off because I love the solution that Ruki came up with for the Snoopy boy, because Snoopy was.
The Snoopiness remained.
but it looks great though. It looks fine now. So here's the thing. So we're gonna look at this guy from the Snoopy angle. Okay. All right, here we go. Hang on. Wait for it. Okay. So from the Snoopy angle, he still looks a bit like Snoopy, but look at this. Look at that. We have this amazing distortion here. You guys can't see it in the call, but you'll see it in the stream in a bit. We have this amazing distortion here that was using like this really cool, like, was it parametric or something like that?
Yeah, it's the parametric vector.
Yeah, like I didn't even know that did anything. So this allows us to get this crazy distortion effect on the sides that basically allowed us to give the illusion that it was a hologram. Yeah?
Yeah, and it's also mixed with the parallax equation.
Oh yeah, that's right. So that was another thing we talked about. It's like maybe we can get
incoming
parallax.
Vector. Yeah,
maybe we can get parallax working. And it does
give the parallax would be so cool.
Yeah.
That's why it's like disappearing.
Right.
The parametric stuff is doing that weird
triangular.
Yeah. And the parallax is making it disappear like that.
Yeah. So like after seeing this, I was like, this is gonna work. Like this is actually gonna work because it has this great look to it. And
I know, right? Sorry, I'm just reading the comments. I was looking at it ages ago, and I looked it up, and I was like, yeah, this is basically used for nothing. I was like, oh, okay, well, I like it, and eventually I got to use it. It was great.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. I was like, I thought parametric was useless, but actually, yeah, honestly, and it looks really, really cool. Actually, I mean, look at that. So, yeah, I wanted to show that off because it's really cool, and it works with the animation too. I mean, look at it. Look at that.
I like it.
Such a cool glitch effect.
Yeah, it's so nice.
Yeah. So anyway, wanted to point that out because
Snoopy solution.
The Snoopy solution. the anti-Snoopy. We fixed it. We fixed it. And by we, I mean Ruki primarily. I did nothing. Yeah, it looks so good though. But yeah, anyway. Also, I wanted to comment real quick on this because I didn't get a chance to, but Leo did a great job with the model, for the boss. I mean, he did these mechanical arms that just look really, really intimidating, and I thought that was really cool. And Christoph, of course, put the shaders on it, and that was awesome. One thing that Christoph also did, and something that we had sort of struggled with for a little bit at the time, was the feathers on his shoulders. And that was sort of like a really interesting challenge for us, and we were unsure if we were even going to be able to do it. And I remember I was sort of like, okay, we got to make it look like this. It's got to act like this, you know, like with the rig and stuff. And we tried a few things that didn't work, and then Christoph was like, "Oh, can we do this?" And he just showed like a perfect solution. I was like, "Yes."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it uses the same solution as you would use with grass, and then just to make it feather shaped, it's in the shader. It's just alpha clipped. So
yeah,
that's it. And it allows you to use the comb. So I think Kai did a really, really pretty render with like all of the feathers, and it had like curved feathers. And I was like, oh god, we gotta do the curvature. But
yeah.
it still has to move properly, and also we don't want to manually animate it. So the grass solution was, or the hair system,
yes,
is ideal for that, because you can comb the little feathers in a curve.
Yeah,
and it still interacts with everything, all the effects you put on it, wind and noise.
Yeah, and it maintains that
stuff.
shape, exactly.
Yeah.
I agree, and it turned out really well. And we were messing around with like, basically it's like a strip, you know, strip shape for the hair, and we just shaded it, and that looked really great too. And it blended in with the jacket really well. So yeah, and the animation for it's all automated. Like we didn't do any animation for the feathers at all, which worked out for most of the shots. We did have a little bit of clipping for like one of them, and yeah, but other than that, it's perfect. So yeah, I really, really like this solution, and I think it's a really interesting solution for feathers just in general, to keep in mind, you know. So you're under arrest. Please drop your weapon.
Whoa, Dad! I'm
so enthusiastic.
It's intimidating. I'm intimidating.
It's him.
Here we go. Bike bending. Yeah. Oh, the color change. So the color change was really, really pretty, because I was asking Ruki for some color options for the bikes, and that actually has a lot to do with how the bikes look in general, because the Ravens also had a bike color that was determined by sort of like what kind of color coordinations we wanted to do with this. And when the boss takes over these bikes, he's supposed to present his dominant colors to them. So these same bikes that used to be green now shine blue and pink. So that was really pretty. Hey, you know how he said his surfing days are over?
Yeah, I spoke too soon, just like him.
Just wanted to point that out, you know.
He's so good at it, better than the other guy that got the knife in the back.
Yeah, you know, professional surfers, they get by with a lot of things, like kidnapping people. Oh yeah, so this is another
messaging.
No, I didn't. It's not subliminal.
Yeah.
It's superliminal.
Subliminal.
I didn't ask anybody to subscribe. I just
You
know,
just
I just suggested it.
Yes.
This gives me like
brainwashing
like
the audience.
Great Gatsby vibes. Yeah. Oh my god. But
I'm
yeah.
watching you. Subscribe.
No pressure or anything. No pressure, you know. Anybody.
Big brother.
Yeah. So if you guys haven't subscribed yet. So anyway.
I have. I'm a subscriber.
Oh yes, excellent. You're safe, Leo.
And I put a like on the animation. Even
perfect.
though I was just pondering if I would do it or not. I wasn't sure.
Did that convince you? Do you think?
Yeah.
You felt an urge to subscribe after just watching.
Yeah.
Advertisement works. Advertisement works. Marketing 101. Yeah. But yeah, the glitch effect that we used on the helmet, we just basically used for this as well. Also, I wanted to point out the billboard shader. It looks really, really good. Christoph did the billboard shader for this, and it's really, really cool in that like we basically could take any image and turn it into a billboard like looking image just by plugging it into the shader. So you can see like there's these clear like patterns here, obviously where each like pixel would be, and of course this color pattern as well. So Christoph did that, and I don't know, Christoph, if you heard, but Austin mentioned that he wanted to give you a very, very big hug because of that.
All right, that's awesome.
Yeah, because we were working on the billboards together, and like I told him, like, yeah, Christoph made this amazing shader that just turns it into a billboard, and he was like, oh my god, it was like because he was gonna do it by hand, like in Photoshop, you know, because he was for every single image, and it just worked because you made this awesome. Yeah, he was like very, very happy about it.
Oh yeah, but this is an old Photoshop trick, and I just made it procedurally, and it worked, and I was like, yay!
It's so cool. Yeah, it's really, really cool. Yeah, so I thought that was really funny. Yeah. Oh, Kaz is here.
Yeah, I just noticed.
Kaz, when did you get here? How's it going? Oh, he's gone.
Oh,
yeah.
That's all right. We salute him. But yeah, so the glitch, so the glitch effect for the helmet was reused. Oh, Kaz salutes back. Yes, well, thank you. I'm glad you're alive. But yeah, the glitch effects were reused. You can see the outlines like Leo was mentioning coming in, and you can see it a lot more clearly. And I'm really glad we were able to really focus and showcase this glitch effect because it looks so good. Besides the helmet, but yeah. Huh.
Abby?
It looks so much like real life.
Yeah. The depth of field really helps with that too.
Cliffhanger, why?
Yeah, you know, people hang on cliffs. It's good exercise, right?
Yeah, but not for long.
Yeah, well, they'll be fine. There's another slightly shorter cliff underneath them from the last video.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
I keep promises. It's totally fine. Yeah, but yeah, that's the entire video. I mean, I think a lot of the stuff here we've talked about, but I know there's probably a lot more that we didn't talk about. So I want to turn it to you guys if you guys want to bring up anything in particular that you wanted to say that you didn't get a chance to.
The windows are maybe something.
Oh yeah.
3 different solutions for the windows. We had a texture one. Rookie made a really, really good one.
And then Christoph made it actually really good.
A bit higher fidelity, and then, but I realized like we will probably need also one that's really.
You made it way prettier.
Lo-fi. Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh god, this is so much more of a dumbed down version.
No, I thought it was so much better. I was like, oh my god, this is so neat. And it looks so much prettier. I was really,
I wanted to simplify it because, I mean, there's already so many lights, so much detail. Everything is glowing.
Yeah.
And so at one point I realized, okay, the windows gotta have less attention. So gotta simplify it a bit. And also, making it procedural shader made it easier to turn off some lights and just you can just slide and you could see lights disappear in the buildings, and that made it much easier to set the correct amount.
That didn't work for the treadmill one.
Yeah.
Because it was using the world space vector, and I just had to shove in a vector transform node, and it worked fine.
Oh,
that was cool.
Yeah.
But you can see You can see the buildings that are up close or using a texture
No,
still.
you could see the windows moving. They didn't stay with the building.
they were the farther away ones. So like these farther away ones had that thing. So basically what Christoph is saying, for those of you guys who are wondering about like the node setup, it's like there's this world space noise that was used to determine where the window placements would be, so that you could basically drag the buildings around in world space and the windows would change shape. Like you would change which windows would actually be on or off, and you get a different pattern each time, which is a great way to get an organic sort of randomization without any effort. And so one interesting conundrum with that was like when we got to the treadmill scene and we had some buildings, so you actually can kind of see them in the back. Let's see if there's some that are not blurred to heck. Yeah, so right here, as you can see some windows here in the back, like the top right, for example, and these windows here, because of that amazingly creative world space randomization method, originally when we first did it, like the windows actually would move as if like through the building, as if it was like this ethereal like ghost of like window shapes. Which was really, really cool, actually, because I was like, I really liked watching it, because like you could literally see where the noise was in 3D space, which was really cool. But yeah, ultimately we just plugged in like an object space transform, vector transform, which worked great. And suddenly they were like.
You also had to apply transforms to get it to work.
Oh yes, that's right. You did have to do that. Yeah, which was a very simple step.
If anyone is wondering, yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Apply transforms, so they all share the origins and they're offset the same way. But yeah, so you see those windows in the back, they're not moving anymore. They were, but we fixed that up. But yeah, the windows were cool. So as a procedural texture, I thought the best thing about it was, first of all, like how simple it was. We've used a lot of anime reference. I know like Ghost in the Shell was like a good reference that we talked about, where they really just paint like blobs for windows. In anime, and I thought like we executed it really well here, because that's what it looks like. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Good job, guys. I like it a lot. But yeah, did you want to mention anything else about that as well? Did I miss anything?
No, that's everything.
Yeah. It's pretty great. Yeah. Let's see here. Anything else?
I don't think so. Just the facades.
Yeah, the facades. the facades that. Yeah.
The buildings with them. The close-up building windows. I actually just cut up the plane and placed it in the windows.
Ah.
There was just random bits of the parallax.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Because I added the glass in front that I rendered it separately so I could take it into Substance Designer and do a slope blur to make it more stylized and more opaque and whatnot.
Yeah.
It worked just cutting up the windows.
Yeah, that's really cool, because like, so an example of what she's talking about is like, if you guys see in the background, like these windows here, which look really, really pretty, these are all just sort of like these smaller windows, and like those, there's also a couple over here as well. So she had like the bigger windows, and I'm assuming those like bigger windows here were just pasted here, but just like cut up. Like you just sort of like took a portion of it.
The little tiny ones where there's like at the top, the little squares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That worked really well, and I really like the glass shader that you did too, like the glass texture. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, look at this one. I love this one. Look, so you guys see this garage?
Yeah, I rendered a scene with the cars.
Look at that. It actually looks like there's cars in there.
Because I was like, maybe they shouldn't just be generic ones. I just made up. I just made up what each building was.
Yeah. Like ignore all signs.
I wonder if this technique would be helpful in larger city.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. For example, if we're like in New York, looking at the outside of the island, and sometimes like I used to see this in games like Spider-Man games and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Really big background. Maybe something like this could actually help us generate large background sceneries, city sceneries, and still have some parallax happening without spending that amount of geo.
I agree.
Some planes.
Yeah. The only thing with the parallax is what's actually inside the building, and why I had to diffuse the glass so much is they're just essentially, imagine 3 layers of flat planes inside a cube. So it's
Mm.
not actually three-dimensional. It's a perspective distortion effect, and so it does break quite.
When you're
It can break
close.
quite easily if you're close up, and it's more for a bit further away.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yes.
Although I mean,
They're
But
not
I do
high
like that car
fidelity.
there.
yeah, it works great when there's just walls and roofs and stuff you got to do because those are obviously cube shaped, so that works great. So the close, even though it's close up, I really like the example of like when she was on the bike in the air next to the evil building facade, because that still worked pretty well even close up. But yeah, I love
Someone
this.
is asking about the procedural textures. I think this is something cool to
Yeah.
speak about.
It's got tons of procedural textures, and actually, what is amazing is that a lot of the assets have just one shared shader. There's this metal shader that's used on a lot of the bins. It's used on all of the lights, and it's the same thing for the buildings.
Yeah.
We have some textures that we use, and that just give a bit of texture.
Yeah.
The example, I think the one that we used the most was that brushstroke texture.
Yes.
That is kind of shared across almost everything that we have, like tiny props, the buildings. If you maybe the front building in this shot, I think you can notice it. But yeah, we just have like a triplanar projection across everything, and then what we're doing after is that using like curvature maps or AOs or some extra bits of like procedural noises and stuff like that. But that was generally the way we did it.
Yeah.
I used it on the reflection too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say the road looks really, really nice as well because I think we used the brushstrokes for it.
It's all the same texture.
It's all the same texture.
Yeah, we used it everywhere. So it's just take a
I mean,
small amount of texture
we can
and
show
just...
the texture. Do you guys have it there? I mean,
I might be able to find it
thing
actually.
that ended up being so useful.
Yeah, I am.
It's such a small texture as well. Hey.
Yeah.
Like, cause when I was adjusting things, I just stole all Christoph's stuff because it was already perfect.
Yeah.
And I loved that brush texture so much.
Yeah.
But
Did you paint it yourself?
Yeah. I did it in the Substance Painter, I think. Just
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
I have a brush. I can actually share this to who is using Substance here.
Yeah.
It's a roller, and it's dynamic, and it tracks the mouse as well. So it's really cool. I really like it. I used it in other things that I can't mention.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And we also used Substance for making curvature shaders, I think.
Yes, the curvature maps was a big thing.
And we use those for highlighting all kinds of stuff. So all of the models have basically a curvature shader. You can curvature texture, and we use it for highlights. It gives edges on everything, and it allows us just to splash it on top and just bring up all of those edges. And you can see it in a lot of the models.
Yeah, the first the hallways or the sci-fi hallways, you can see a lot of it.
Yeah.
And even on the big police vehicle at the end, it's got all of these edges that are highlighted.
Yeah, so I'm showing on stream right now a screenshot, of the curvature maps for the lab, like the USB lab. So this was baked out from Substance and just used as a map for basically what parts to make shinier, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It worked really, really well. It's something that we prioritize quite a bit in our look development because edges are nice.
Yeah. I think it makes everything look very distinct and less realistic also, but
yeah, Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Anything else you guys want to bring up?
The reflection was actually difficult. I mean, you can't really stylize it because the moment you add reflection, the shader to RGB does not work. So
that's
you
right.
can't do any of the gradient stuff. Like, so it's just a normal shader with a reflection, and then the texture does the heavy lifting. It makes the reflections look beautiful. It's just the texture going into the roughness, and that's it.
Yeah. That was the crazy part, because I was actually looking at it. I was like making sure to replicate like the wet road, like on like the highway and like the city strip and like tunnel properly. And I was like, how does this work? And I looked at it and it's just that's it.
It's very simple, because I mean, you can't do a lot of things when you have reflections, so you just gotta be creative and do simple things that work.
Yeah, and it worked really, really well. I know a lot of people love the reflections, especially with how pretty the city looks. So that worked really well together. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good call to have puddles in here.
Yes, I agree. It added a lot to the scene.
I just maybe it's a minor detail, but maybe you shouldn't look too long. But the strip, like the yellow strip, it's like no, the rain selectively chose the asphalt.
Yeah.
And then left.
Yeah.
It's the future.
It's
they have specific materials for that.
Yeah, it's hydrophobic paint. So obviously it would stay dry.
Cool, actually. That's a good excuse.
It probably does exist.
We thought about this deeply.
Yeah, it's part of the lore, Leo. It's part of the world building. We yeah, no, that's let's ignore that. But yeah, let's see. I have a few other questions I want to answer real quick. Could you have made the projector as green screen and made the effect in AE? Yeah, I don't see a necessary point. We got alphas, we'll be fine. But Robin says, did all the goons have the same cell shading setup minus the sun vector? Yes, they technically did. So when you mention all the goons, I'm assuming that you mean like the jackal guards and the rat scientist and the Raven bikers, because of course, each of one of the things that's from a technical perspective is like each of the bikers was technically just the same rig, just referenced multiple times. This is the first time we've ever been able to do that. It's kind of a big milestone for Blender, like just in general, because for the longest time Blender used proxies for referencing, and it wouldn't let you link the same file twice. So this wasn't possible for many years. And they recently switched to library overrides, which lets you do that. So library overrides made this possible, and they're fantastic. They're a great achievement, and I hate them so much for many other reasons that we found out in this project. But we won't go into detail about that because even we don't know what's going on. But yeah, so that's the thing. I do feel like so obviously their shaders are the same. So when it comes to the rat scientists and the jackal guards, they basically just had color shaders that were the exact same node group setup that we have on Abby as well, actually. Yeah, and it worked out. And we use a sun vector to point the light instead of an actual light because it's more efficient and allows them to be all isolated with their sun vectors. So yeah, which you'll know if you use the rig from the Blender animation course, which has that same setup. But anyway, yeah. Any other questions from you guys in the chat, or also anything you guys want to point out in the call that you want to talk about?
No, I mean, I think I'm done. I did work quite a bit on it, like the vehicles, the characters, the environment as well. But I think, I mean, I don't know. I mean, should it be mentioned? I mean, there was kit bashes being used to help us generate a bunch of quick detail. For example, I think the best example is the trucks that were made.
Oh yeah,
for the final ones. So those ones were just pretty much a kit bash.
That's right.
Just 100% almost. There was none almost manual modeling, except the front of the truck. The back of the truck was was just kit bashing.
Yeah.
And trying to get a good puzzling effect.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well. I mean, we got these really cool military looking trucks that were able to fill up the scene, and we also got this this guy here just sitting in front of it.
Yes.
And that worked out really well. So you mentioned you actually did sort of adjust the windshield and stuff like that to fit the truck shape, but you did kit bash a little bit of that as well.
Yeah, the front of the truck where the driver is and stuff like that. I mean, eventually, from the concept until the end of the modeling, I mean, it's completely different. Colors changed.
Yep.
The concept, everything changed. But yes, you can see some kit bashing happening as well in the front. I mean, for example, that really in the front of the box, you have these sort of panels coming forward.
Yeah.
All of that is just kit bash. We have like a really big library of it.
Do you have any favorite kits that you use often?
Good question.
Oh yeah, this one is one of my favorite ones. There is other. Let me look for the name. 3D.
Yeah,
it was free before, but it's not anymore.
Oh.
It's called Art Surface Kit Bash.
OR?
Let's see. OU.
OU.
Yeah, from Oleg Ush Ushinok.
That doesn't sound English. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, if you want to send that, I mean, we can send that in the chat later. But yeah, I do think that the kit bashing helped a lot with the process. Like we had a lot of quick turnarounds for the models because of that. So that was really cool.
The trucks were pretty quick. I will send it through the meeting chat, and that way maybe you can.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely.
So this is the cover of the kit bash.
Ah, yeah. I see. So we have
it's on ArtStation and stuff.
Ah, okay. Yeah, Oleg Ushinok. There we go. I see it.
It's a great kit bash. It's one of my favorite ones, and he has a bunch of them that I think it would be worth buying almost all of them. To be honest, of course not, but they're really good.
Yeah. He's got a lot of mechanical parts here and things that you can really very easily sort of put together and make something cool in a very quick way. So it's really awesome.
Yeah.
I know. I already have a collecting problem.
This can't be good for your health. Volume 1, there's more. Okay. But yeah. Yeah. I think that's a really.
Where's the volume?
That's a really good point. Because it worked really, really well. Yeah. Ninja asked about the storyboard. I do recommend checking out the storyboard on the animator meeting. We actually did play that entire thing, so you can check it out on the VODs for earlier this week. But yeah, they're good. The storyboards are they're drawn with a mouse, so don't go expecting like.
And don't feel bad for him because he could not do that as well.
I have a tablet.
He has a tablet.
I have a tablet. I do draw. I know how to draw. I promise. Or maybe I shouldn't promise. I don't know which one's worse. But yeah. Anyway, so these are the storyboards. So you kind of see like, they're really there to give like an idea of things. But
and I love this.
Yeah, they're not really there to be art pieces or anything. But anyway, enough about me. Yeah. So yeah, anything else you guys want to bring up?
I'm good. I'm done speaking.
Yeah, Christoph, how?
Right. Same.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I also wanted to mention I really love some of the concepts.
Yes, I completely
shout
agree.
out to Jeff.
Jeff did an amazing job. I want to actually. Before we go, I did want to show something, which is like the transition from what Jeff concepted to what Leo modeled, and then to the final render. So this is actually Jeff's original concept. It was very, very rough, very, very quick, and he just sort of like was like, okay, we're gonna make this relatively generic sci-fi hallway with these shapes, with this door, with a keypad, that we'll figure out later. And it was just very simple shapes. He even got like the lettering on there. And I was like, this is great. This is gonna work great. We're gonna figure it out, and we're gonna figure out how to, build this into something that exists, and that's what we did. And so this turned into, I actually have it open. This turned into this. So we actually see, in this blend file, this is Leo's original blend file that I opened earlier, that actually has the same angle. You can see here. Hang on, let me line it up. So you can see here, we actually have the same angle in the concept art. Look at that. Look at that. And Leo did just this ridiculously amazing job. I remember going like, what? Where did this come from, Leo? This is insane. But yeah, it's incredibly accurate to the original shapes and stuff like that. You can see the door here is, got everything that Jeff had originally planned, as well as like the shape of the hallway and everything like that, and even these panels on the bottom. And it just looks really, really good. And Leo threw it together and like in a really masterful but also relatively quick way. And then I mean, we've already seen how it looks in the final film, but I'll see if I can find one too. Just like let's get the paint over from Rookie as well. But like that.
Who or what did you sacrifice for this power, Leo?
My soul.
Oh, okay.
A small price.
Can I sacrifice your soul and also gain this power?
I'll talk to the devil now because I don't have it.
Yeah, that's fair. I too would like to sell your soul.
Yes.
Yeah. But I mean, look at that. Going from Jeff's concept art to sort of like what we have here with Rookie's paint over, and what ultimately Christoph executed on very well. It's such a great progression of what we were able to accomplish. And I think this is also another great example. If you take a look at the model and the look dev for this bottom right hand corner, I mean, look how beautiful that is. I mean, just from a color perspective, but also from a modeling perspective, the details and the cables and all these things. That originally came from this concept from Jeff as well. We had the same robot hands in the middle, which Leo was able to execute very well. We have just the rooms on the side, which Leo was able to do.
I ended up using the rig that I added because I remember that I even did a small rig.
You did
for me to experiment.
Yeah, and if you remember in the film, there's actually animation on those arms, which I did. Like at the last second, I was like, okay, I got to animate these arms, and so I just threw on some. So technically, I did animate on this project, but yeah, I animated the arms, and those are that rig actually worked pretty well for just basic movements. So I did use your rig, Leo.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, that worked out.
It's going to be like replaced or something, but that's nice if it was useful.
Yeah, it was useful. It was like a simple IK rig, and it worked really well for the purposes that I needed it to. So
nice.
Yeah.
Thank you for the comments. I really appreciate.
Yeah.
You guys also did a really amazing job with the city and the look dev and stuff. I mean, I think that was way more than where I left it after the modeling stage and the basic texturing and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair. You obviously set this great foundation, and then we were able to do a lot of cool things with it. So yeah.
Oh yeah, I really loved the models. When I opened the scene, I was like, oh god, I really got to make this beautiful.
Yeah,
this looks so good.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. It's all around just like such great talent from all you guys. I mean, honestly, like this is beautiful to me. Best looking project we've ever made by far. I don't think that's any contest. So yeah. Anyway, just wanted to point that out because I thought it was really cool to see that progression. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, there's a couple other things from Jeff that we would be interesting to see. We have this cyberplane that was, actually modeled by Kazuya. So Kaz modeled this cyberplane as well as this blade, I guess is we called it, because I couldn't decide if it was a knife or a sword, but it's a blade, a cyber blade or whatever you want to call it. So this was actually modeled by Kazuya very, very accurately. I don't know if you guys could tell, but it looks exactly like this in the short, and so does this, and that's also a huge testament to Christoph's work as well with the look dev. as well as the wolf rifles for the jackals. So yeah, lots of really cool concept art, and like you can see the characters here. You can see the bike as well. You know, the original bike concept for Jeff's idea for how this would work. Lots of cool stuff. So I mean, this project was.
He's so good at rendering.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, look.
Rendering in 2D, I mean painting.
Yeah. Like the lighting on this looks so pretty. So I like the glow here. We really tried to replicate that. But yeah, man, and we also have this guy, the final boss. This guy looks really cool too. We went through a few iterations of him. You can kind of see this is kind of
character there.
Yeah,
there was a character there. I didn't see it. Oh, that was back.
The Shocky Boy.
Wait, which one?
This
one?
The Raven? Yeah.
Yeah. I was about to talk about these too. So these were the alternative designs that we had considered, because you can see here that we actually basically took a combination of the left guy and the right guy and sort of mashed them together. So we took the bottom half of this guy, where we kept the sort of turtleneck and the long sort of, well, it wasn't that long actually, but then we had the helmet of the left guy. So that's what he ultimately ended up being. So you can see here, this is sort of like the iterations that we went through to get to this point, and we, got the guy that we see in the video. Yeah,
you guys could have told me. I would have done the 3 of them, man.
That's really funny, because like I know Shane was like, I really want to have because he saw Shane was doing the previs for these characters at the time, just animating them, and he was like looking at Jeff's designs, like, you've done so many cool designs, I want to do all of them. And I was like, oh my god, that would be really cool, but I don't know if I can do it. But yeah, it turned out really great either way. But yeah, they look really cool.
And all of them look really cool.
Yes, I agree very much. And like this guy turned out great as well. We made the feathers a lot bigger in the end, but it looks so good. Ramen mentions the Ravens had loafers and ankle socks, and that is accurate. Yeah, they didn't have socks.
Just casual.
Yeah, just casually.
So stylish.
Yeah, I think they really like to feel the breeze on those ankles.
As one does.
Yeah.
It's not illegal anymore.
Yeah.
To reveal your ankles.
Yeah, not for these men.
And studded shoulder pads and stuff.
Yeah. It's like I gotta look as like intimidating up the top, and then like the bottom is like I'm just it's a Saturday.
Ready to party.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway. Yeah, Cosmic Shuriken asks like, how long did it take to make the video? And I mean, the video title is basically we spent 10,000 hours, which is pretty accurate when you add up the total of collective hours that we put in as a team, which is a lot of hours. We spent quite a lot of time on and off. Different people were on different projects at different times and on board at different times, but the very beginning of the project, technically, the very first time we did anything for the project was back in February, I believe. And that was when the previs started. So it's been a while since we actually technically started. But, that's not like the full team or anything. But we did have quite a few people working on it on and off throughout the process until now. So that adds up quite a bit. Yeah. But
it was quite a long time.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a long video, and probably the longest video we've made so far. I mean, from a scale perspective.
Was it 7 minutes? 6?
Yeah, it's 6.5 minutes with just the animation itself. Yeah,
that's quite a lot.
It is quite a lot. Yeah, certainly. So, yeah.
I mean, when I was in Access, they would take around 3 to 4 months to produce like a 3-minute animation. So if we add double that, we are around to 6 to 7. So I don't think
the same.
It was. I don't think it was too long, much longer than what
would be expected.
Again, my biggest reference it would be Access, because I wasn't there longer. So I think it's pretty tight.
Yeah, which is
a hard taskmaster.
Yes, the master of tasks. That's me. Yeah, I was so I myself did put in a lot of hours near the end, getting everything wrapped up, and we were assembling everything, rendering everything, doing like finalizing all the like dev, and making everything work together. Doing the sound, it was something that Shane, Kai, and I were working together on, and all of that
Died
was.
at one point. I recall.
I did die and then resurrect later. Yes, that's true.
That was amazing.
Yeah, that was part of the soul offering process.
It was very sad, but it was also amazing.
yeah, it was an emotional day, but yeah, I mean, we made it, and the devil said, yes, you can have your video. So
what
yeah.
did we leave behind, Dylan? What did we leave behind?
The mortal realm, mostly.
What did we trade?
Yeah.
Sanity.
Yeah, mostly sanity.
A little bit of sanity.
Yeah. But
I bet that some of you guys were already delirious at the last days of development, because
that's accurate.
I was like, I would not do that. I would not do that.
He was a people.
Yeah.
He was a cat.
I thought. Wait, hang on a second. This sounds like propaganda. I would never. Yeah. No, I mean.
That's what I remember.
Yeah, totally. I would not be surprised. I honestly was pretty delirious near the end. I think I was like figuring it.
You thought he was a cat.
No, hang on.
Start meowing every time.
Yeah. I was like, Dylan, you're not saying words. You're just meowing at me.
Well, that's what I thought you would understand. Okay, it's not my fault. Anyway. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, I think that's about all we have time for today. And we've been talking about a lot of things. We have a lot of stuff, that we could have talked about. I know, but I'm sure you guys got at least a majority of the information that we wanted to talk about today. So I really appreciate you guys joining us. In the chat, there was a lot of good questions, a lot of good answers by the team. So I'm really happy with how the stream went. I don't know about how you guys felt. Yeah, was it fun?
Yeah. And I'm reading the comments. Thank you, guys. They're saying, hey, this was a very good job.
Yes. Yes. I agree. And absolutely true. Absolutely true. I think I'm really proud of how it turned out. I think we did an amazing job.
Yeah, we did it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, so this is just like an internal thing, but like CyberKatsu 2 is very much like a test for, trying out these larger scale projects and the logistics of it and all these things, and really making sure like we get these pipelines and stuff working out for future projects, TM. So it makes me very excited for what we accomplished, because I feel like it bodes very well for what we can accomplish. And I know, because I've seen what you guys are doing behind the scenes, cough, cough, that there's even more really, really exciting projects and really exciting accomplishments on the way. So, yeah. Yeah.
And thank you very much.
No, thank you guys.
You're also great.
Oh, no. I
put a lot of effort at the end. And insane, quite literally.
Yes, it was the lack of sanity that drove that. Yes, exactly.
Meow.
Meow.
We speak not of that. But yeah. Anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the stream for you guys. So I'll talk to you guys later when it comes to the chat. We will have probably some streams in the near future. Again, probably not this year, because I'm going to be taking it easy and not staying up for 24 hours a day for a little while. So I won't be able to stream for a little bit. I'll be recuperating. But I'm hoping that next month we'll be streaming a little bit just casually with you guys. So yeah, I'll see you guys soon. But everybody, I want to thank the artists in the call. So thank you very much for joining me, guys. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Was it?
Yeah, it was
a pleasure.
Super informative. So I'm sure everybody thinks so as well. So all right, guys, I'll see you guys later. We're gonna end the stream, and good night, because it's actually really late for me. All right, good night, everybody. Good night.
Thank you for the chat.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.